from Chevron and Burger King.
Gonna throw, pressure comes, steps up, gonna step away, got a man wide open on the sidelines, it's caught, that's gonna be a Spanish Fork touchdown, a 51-yard strike, it's 12-0 Spanish Fork.
Sponsors for this broadcast are The Car Guys, Lance Wilson State Farm, MVP Sports, Two Jacks Pizza, Triple T, and SFCN.
Good evening to everybody here at Spanish Fork High School, and Spanish Fork 17 welcomes you to this broadcast as we get set for what will be a high school rivalry and one of those games where there's a lot on the line tonight as the visiting Springville Red Devils have made the trip here to take on the Spanish Fork Dons. I'm Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst. And Chris, you have Region 8. It's early on in the season. You got a high school rivalry. Winner has first place in the region. There's a lot at stake tonight for both these teams.
There is a lot at stake. And the one thing is, if you're the Dons, we got a nice view of the field right now. If you're the Dons, this is the premier team. They were picked to win it. And Springville has been on fire so far this season as they come into this game 4-0. This is also the 89th time these teams have met, and it's been close. Last 14 they've split, but overall, Springville leads the series 44-41 with 3 ties.
Sophomore kicker Ben Schreiner set to put a foot into it. He's got the ball teed up on the 40. Saili back deep for Spanish Fork. The low line drive kick's going to go to the up back, Salofa Funa. Across the 20. He's going to get it out across the 30, lowers his head as he gets out across the 32 or 33-yard line. And I understand the short kick, but I don't know if I want to really kick that short to Salofa Funa. He's got the ability to potentially take that one to the house.
He does. He's a big cat with some speed, and Springville does a great job on the kickoff coverage that time, bringing them down.
So we're going to get our first look here tonight, Chris, of the Spanish Fork offense, and kind of an up-and-down season at times for the Spanish Fork offense. They've had moments where they've looked really good, and they've had moments where they can't pass the ball at all, it seems like.
I think the key for them is to be a little more consistent on offense tonight. Maybe bring that passing percentage up. It's low. It's around 40% on the season. 4
wide receivers. Kiesel going to be pressured right away. He's going to roll out, get across the 30s. He's going to have to do something with it. Throws downfield. That one kind of bobbled by Brooks Ringer. They're going to say that he looks like they're going to give him the catch at the 47-yard line.
Wow, from this angle, it looked like he was bobbling it out of bounds, but they give him the first down. Great job by Brooks Ringer hanging on to that pass right on the sideline.
So we'll get our first look at the Car Guys instant replay. And, I mean, taking a look at this the second time, boy, I don't know. I think he was out when that knee lands. But if it hits the kind of that chalk line, I guess it's considered in.
Well, we had a little different view, and he was bobbling that going out. But nonetheless, first down Dons.
Spanish Fork, one play already to the 47-yard line. Ready to go once again. Salofa Funa, the deep back, play action fake. Funa gets taken out. He's going to go downfield. He's got a man. That's complete to Mace Funa. Funa down inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. That play action fake, we've kind of heard rumors about. We might see more Mace Funa in that tight end. And that's going to be complete. I thought that was...
Yeah, Jackson Tierio came in there, and if he would have went after the quarterback, that play would have been done, but he bites on the fake.
And so Mace Funa gets inside the 30, and so very quickly we've seen these kind of play-action fake. And this is a very good Springville defense, holding Maple Mountain to only 13 points last week, coming up with the blocked PAT to hold on to that one. There's Braden Christensen on the catch. He's going to get about a good 6 or 7 down to about the 21-yard line. And so just one of these quick passes where they're really taking advantage of getting that ball out of the hands of Nate Kiesel pretty quick. Yeah, you're right. And the Devils so far this season, they've only given up 21 to Dixie, 10 to Lehigh, 0 to Mountain View, and 13 to that high-powered offense that the Golden Eagles have for Maple Mountain. So points will be a premium for the Dons. 2nd and 2, Kiesel going to roll out. He's going to be pressured. Flag comes in. He's going to throw backside and completes it out to Stanton. Stanton's down to the 16-yard line. We'll see if this one actually holds up with where that flag comes in. You probably think of holding at Spanish Fork, and that leads us perfectly right into one of our keys to the game. Yeah, one of our other keys tonight that we have listed is to limit penalties, and that time the center was doing a little bit too much holding that time, and so that play will be negated. We'll replay 2nd down here. That's really something. If you're Spanish Fork, you really need to take advantage of opportunities. Get an early touchdown on the board to take some stress off your defense. This is Springville offense that we'll see later tonight. Throws the ball a little bit more than maybe they did last year, but they're still a heavy run-based team. And if you're Spanish Fork, you'll want Springville to pass the ball. They have, was it 11 INTs? 3 of them have been taken back to the house by Mace Funa alone, and the state record's 4 in a season. So it'll be 2nd down and 18 coming up for Spanish Fork. Ball back on the 36-yard line. Thanks for tuning in here on this Friday night. No score, early first quarter. Dons their first possession, driving down the field. Here's Kiesel with some good time. He's going to take a shot deep, looking for Jackson Higginson. Catches it in an end zone. Touchdown, Spanish Fork. Higginson beating Bryce Nelson, the senior defensive back, and the Dons are on the board 6-0. Yeah, great job of Higginson getting behind the defense that time, and great protection up front, and those two things led Kiesel to be able to throw that deep ball into Higginson. I thought he might have put a little too much air under, but it worked out great that time as the Dons take an early lead. We might have an upset alert brewing here tonight. And I think one of the biggest things, too, is look at the time Nate Kiesel had on that, as you see on the Car Guys' replay. Extra point is up, and it is good for James Daw, but we do have... Yeah, go ahead. There's a flag. So this will likely make another attempt here. We'll see who it's against, as both teams, it looks like, begin to head off the field, indicating it's probably going to be against Springville. Well, if you're Spanish Fork, this is the perfect start to the game. Now you got to play defense. You got to force Springville, I think, to throw. If Springville runs all over Spanish Fork, it could be a long night for the defense, but the offense has definitely stepped up on that first possession. Personal foul indicated against Springville on that extra point, so that will be probably enforced on the kickoff, which will be a 15-yard penalty. But yeah, and Chris, I think that's a good point. Last year in the ball game that Springville won at home 28-7. 3 of those 4 touchdowns scored by Springville was by Zach Gordon, who just was able to run all over the Spanish Fork defense. Yeah, and this year he's gone, I believe, and they'll have Everett and Scotty Everett and Kelly Polo back there running the ball, so they still have some lethal running backs. So they're going to move the kickoff here up across the 50-yard line. The kickoff's going to go to the Springville 45-yard line, so you have to kind of wonder that this one's probably going to be coming back as number 3, Bryce Nelson, and I believe that's number 7, Braxton McAllister back deep. I should say probably going to go into the end zone to come out to the 20 is what I meant to say. I'd flat out try an onside kick here. You've got all the momentum. Springville, if you can get them flat early, why not? You have a lot of good hands out there. We'll see what Spanish Fork does. Here comes the kick, a low line drive. It's going to go well into the end zone and through for no return. So Springville is going to bring the ball out to the 20-yard line, and this is the first time we get to see this offense, Chris. A new quarterback in Jansen Thorpe comes in, but now also an opportunity here. We're going to see a 3 or maybe even a 4-headed monster running back tonight. Yeah, we're going to see multiple guys. Jansen Thorpe comes in with 656 yards passing, 7 TDs, and his completion percentage is 55% on the season. He can get the job done. He also has over 100 yards rushing. So right away, we're going to see a big run formation coming here from Springville. Shotgun set for Jansen Thorpe. The single back is Devin Tate. And Tate's going to get the call on first down, lowers his head, gets into the middle. He gets out to around the 25-yard line. So a very big pickup of about 5 on first down. Tate on the season, 21 carries, 160 yards, averaging 7.5, almost 7.6 yards a carry. And when you're a coach and you can get 7 yards every time your guy touches the ball, he's going to be getting a lot of carries.
Yeah, and we're going to see contrasting styles tonight. Springville's just going to line the ball up, a lot of I formation, a lot of 2 tight end sets, and where Spanish Fork spreads the ball. So this will be a big challenge for that front 7 of Spanish Fork tonight.
Salofa Funa having to come off the field for a play. Nate Mattis, number 21, will check in. Single back, or this time they go to the I formation set. Devin Tate, the fullback. That's Bryce Nelson, the deep back. And they're going to give it right up the middle. Tate, he gets free. It's a foot race to the end zone. Going to the 40, the 30, the 20. Touchdown, Red Devils. And they have a 75-yard touchdown by Devin Tate. And we're an extra point away from being tied. No penalty markers.
And that play was all set up by great blocking up front. There was a hole I could have ran through if they needed me to. And I'm old, so just incredible up front. But the safety was way too far up for Dons that time, and nobody was back there to stop them.
Looks like we're gonna have a sideline warning against Spanish Fork. So the touchdown's good. And like you said, Chris, right there, that's the thing with this running game for Springville. You're going to see all of that, and you have Devin Tate, 2 carries, 80 yards right there. I mean, that's just a great drive for Springville to respond as Garrett Lindsay, the sophomore kicker, coming on for the point after touchdown try. To hold, it's going to be Tate Erickson. Snap is good. It's a little high. The kick is up, and he missed it. And that wasn't even close. He just put that one almost straight up into the air.
Hey, he kicked that thing like I hit with my driver. I just hit it straight in the air, so it just needs to get a better angle when he's kicking that ball.
And maybe the snap a little high, maybe that had something to do with it. But, Chris, early on, 9:03, we have 2 touchdowns already. Now, all of a sudden, all that momentum you had if you're Spanish Fork is kind of gone with the big 75-yard touchdown.
Right, and I thought we'd be in for more of a defensive battle, as last week the Dons and Salem Hills battled, and it was 21-14 with the Dons coming ahead due to a defensive touchdown. And Springville and Maple Mountain last week were in a battle that was 14-13. So I'm a little shocked we're at 9:03 and the score's 7-6 here in the first quarter.
And, you know, a lot of excitement, especially you always wonder, it's homecoming week here at Spanish Fork, a whole kind of week long of festivities. You always kind of wonder, in a sense, if your team's going to struggle with a little bit with the emotion of everything, with all the events, get caught up in the excitement. You always kind of wonder if maybe they're going to come out flat. The good news for Spanish Fork, offensively, they didn't come out flat at all.
They didn't, but the defense kind of needs to get more of a push, though.
Schreiner to put a foot into it at the 40, kicks this one deep. Leo Saili is going to muff the return. He's got plenty of time to pick it up at the 8-yard line, makes a couple of men miss. He's going to get free out across the 20, and he's going to be brought down around the 25-yard line. And what was a tough start to the return, Saili able to make something there and gets actually pretty good field position out to the 25.
Yeah, that ball bounced off him. I got a little nervous like he was going to run away from it there for a second, but Saili picks it up and gets upfield, gets some good yardage. I thought there for a second if he could break that tackle by Trujillo, he would be on his way up the field.
A very exciting night here at Spanish Fork as we get set, ready to go for the Don's second possession. Nate Kiesel in the pistol formation. And Kiesel drops back, throws over the middle. That one's into the hands of Braden Christensen. Christensen didn't really look like he was expecting that to come that quick, but he's able to hold on, gets about 6 on first down.
And that's something the Dons have struggled, is going short over the middle. It's great to see Braden Christensen, the big tight end, getting involved early in this ball game.
Christensen will head over to the sideline here, and he'll wait his next opportunity to come in. Nate Kiesel wearing the dark black sleeves tonight for Spanish Fork as Springville looks to have that one safety playing over the top is Bryce Nelson. Kiesel, 3-step drop again, gets it out quickly, in and out of the hands and kind of away from Isaac Pendleton. It just kind of goes off his hands for an incomplete pass, and that sets up a 3rd and 5. The first third down of the night for Spanish Fork.
Well, Kiesel last week, he came in overthrowing balls. He struggled with his accuracy early, but that was his first errant pass so far this game, so it looks like he might be a little more calm tonight than last week.
And this is really going to be an important night for Spanish Fork, a chance to get at the top of the region. You have, the last thing you want to do is drop these next two, because these next two are your probably toughest region games coming up with Springville and Maple Mountain. Kiesel barely gets the play off. The pitch goes outside, and on the carry there and getting maybe back to the line of scrimmage was Salofa Funa. And the Dons are going to have to punt. Kind of an interesting play call there on 3rd and 5, but nonetheless, you're going to bring in Way Stanton to punt.
And I'm curious to see how the Devils here go after Way Stanton. He's got the ability to fake it on any punt with his rugby style.
Number 5, Noah McCray will drop back deep. He's standing right now at the 39-yard line. His own 39-yard line. Way gets it off. Almost got a hand in his face there. Fair catch is called for and made at the 34-yard line. So now you quickly get a second look at this Springville offense. And Chris, if for the viewers that just joined us, it didn't really take very long for Springville to strike first. A 75-yard touchdown run from Devin Tate.
Yeah, so far Springville's strategy is hand it to Tate. They got 5 yards on his first carry and 75 in the touchdown on the second. So I would be surprised if we saw a lot of Mr. Tate here on their second drive.
Sometimes you have to stick with what works, and with 7:43 to go in the first quarter, Jansen Thorpe and the Red Devils will empty out the backfield except for Devin Tate. Tate standing to kind of playing still in that fullback position.
They still have 2 tight ends in there as well.
Bryce Nelson to the bottom of your screen, and 3-step drop. Thorpe looking to throw, has some time, looking for Adam Rodriguez, and overthrew him. Rodriguez had a step there, it looked like, on Devin Argyle, and the ball just going up over. I'm sorry, that was Noah McCray, number 5, the intended receiver.
And McCray wasn't able to come down with it because it was overthrown, but Jansen Thorpe had plenty of time. He just needed to take an extra second and let McCray get another step on look at the wrong, sorry, on Devin Argyle that time.
Argyle's had a very nice season defensively, a couple interceptions for Argyle so far this year. I formation coming here for the Red Devils. 3 and the flags flying. This is probably an illegal procedure for either a shift or a, no, it looks like it's going to be offsides against Springville. A penalty you don't see very often of somebody maybe lining up offsides.
And the other thing we've talked about, I think they just gave the wrong hand symbol that time, but yeah, if you're the Dons here, they are playing awfully close to the line of scrimmage, those 2 safeties. So if you're Springville, you can take the top off this defense every once in a while. It looks like McCray's got the ability to do that.
I formation here on 2nd and 15 for Springville. Jansen Thorpe at the line of scrimmage, giving out the signals, now comes under center. And a flag's fly again as Thorpe slips in the backfield and goes down. And this is, again, it looks like going to be another procedure call against Springville.
That is very interesting. I wonder if somebody's lining up offsides.
Second time back-to-back offside penalties going against Springville, and that's kind of when you have to look and maybe before the snap kind of take a quick look at the ball. Unfortunately, once you go set, if you try to move back into position either way, you're probably going to get penalized.
Yeah, I'm wondering who that side judge is seeing offside or down there. I wonder if the receiver's just going up too far, not checking, or if one of the linemen guard tackles
we have
up too far.
We have a good look at it right now, but we can't because the receiver's right blocking where that ball is. I think it might be potentially this tight end.
Yeah, it looks like the tight end was offside that time as well.
Thorpe going to be pressured in the backfield, now being chased. He's going to throw it up at the last second and throws it into the Spanish Fork sideline. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 20. I don't know if that was offsides or if Tanner Pereiro there just kind of maybe jumped a little bit early, but either way, he kind of adjusted his position.
Yeah, it should have been the 3rd penalty in a row. Either way, it's 3rd and 20, and Mace Funa laid the wood on Jansen Thorpe that time.
We'll see that here on the Car Guys instant replay, and pretty nice hit there from Mace Funa. Jansen Thorpe's going to remember that next time. And now this is an interesting play for Springville because this Red Devil offense isn't one that's necessarily going to spread the field and look to go down the field, but now they kind of have to here in 3rd and 20.
Yeah, and that's all due to their penalties. It's really taken them out of their offense.
They barely get the play off. Thorpe going to look deep. He's got a man out there looking for McCray, and he goes up. Did he come down with it? Yes, he did. It's going to be a catch. First down, Red Devils.
McCray was sandwiched in between Argyle and Argyle that time and comes away with the ball. I don't know how he caught it. He just wanted it more than the two Argyles.
Thorpe threw a nice ball here, and right there he talked about Devin Argyle, number 24, getting up, almost got his hand on the ball, but Noah McCray going up and finding a way to get it.
And Devin and Tanner were in great coverage, but perfect throw by Thorpe that time.
I formation here for Springville, the deep back here being Bryce Nelson. Couple of tight ends in there for the Red Devils too. Give right up the middle. Here's Devin Tate. He's going to get away from that defensive line. If the flag comes in after he gets about 5, and we'll see what this is going to be. Probably in the area of holding, probably against Springville.
Yeah, that's what my initial guess would be. I didn't see a hold that time, but this once again puts the Devils in a passing situation, and they want to be a run-first team under Coach Willie Childs.
Their 4th penalty here in the quarter. I think it's their 3rd on this drive, 3rd or maybe even their 4th on this drive as well. But yeah, Chris, you bring up a good point. If you can, right now, you're helping that Spanish Fork defense quite a bit, because if you can make Springville one-dimensional, make them play a game they're uncomfortable with, it's going to really force that offense to stretch out a little bit.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And the other thing is, they don't want to pass deep. Those are lower percentage plays. They'd rather just pound the ball on this Don's defense.
And Springville's going to take a timeout here with 6:42 to go in the first quarter. Take a chance to talk about it. And this is a big early timeout by Coach Willie Child, because here they have to try to figure out what's going on your offense. You want to cut down on the penalties and everything like that, and that's definitely a big thing to watch out for. We're 6:42. Let's take a moment here and thank our sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Let's thank the Car Guys for the sponsorship of the Car Guys Instant Replay. Lance Wilson State Farm. Pay attention throughout the ball game for the Lance Wilson State Farm assist, as you'll see throughout this broadcast. MVP Sports for the MVP of the game. 2 Jack's Pizza, Triple T, and of course, Spanish Fork Community Network. We want to thank our whole team that's here with Chris and I here at Spanish Fork High School. The start of the high school, well, not the start of the high school football season, but the start of the region play of the high school football season.
Start of the region championship game, possibly.
Very much potentially here, as it's 1st and 20 from the 41. Thorpe goes right up the middle, and there's going to be a carry up the middle there. And that's Bryce Nelson on the carry. Nelson's going to come up and get about 4. That puts it about 2nd and 16.
Yes. So one thing we'll notice about the Red Devils tonight is they have 5 guys with over 100 yards rushing coming into this game, so they like to spread the wealth on carries. And we'll have to see if the Dons tonight still have that same intensity in stopping the run in the 4th quarter. It's gonna be a huge challenge for that front 7 and those 2 safeties.
I formation set again. Nelson the deep back, and the play action fake. Thorpe rolls out. He's going to be pressured, throws down the field. It's got Adam Rodriguez, and that's going to be a first down out inside. Pretty close. Sorry, that's number 8.
Slavens. Brock Slavens.
Slavens on the 6 and the 8 kind of at first glance look different. We will see plenty of number 6 Adam Rodriguez throughout the night, especially if Springville goes into a Wildcat formation. He's kind of that Wildcat quarterback for the Red Devils.
And speak of the Devil, he runs onto the field. No pun intended.
So ball sits on the 37-yard line as Springville is in their drive. And this is really what you want to avoid if you're Spanish Fork. Tonight's not a night when you can turn the ball over, because you think of it, 1 or 2 extra possessions with the way this offense runs the ball. You get late in this ball game and you're trailing. Who knows how many possessions you'll have. Right up the middle again. Here's Nelson. He's going to be stopped. Maybe I think he lost a half a yard, maybe even a full yard there. As quickly getting there was Salofa Funa.
Yeah, that was 41 that time.
Tukuwafu getting there.
Thank you. But great job by that defensive tackle, number 65 down there for the Dons. Just plugging up a ton of space. That's Harmon down there. He took on 2 or 3 blockers, which freed up the other linebackers and defensive end to make that play. That's what you got to do in this 3-4 defense.
2nd down and 11. The pitch goes outside. Here's Nelson at the 40. He's got Devin Tate as a lead blocker. Nelson gets pretty close to the marker. I think he's going to be about a half a yard short as it goes to the far side of the field, but it's going to set up about 3rd and maybe a half a yard coming up here needed for Springville.
And this is probably a time when we'll see one of the bigger backs like Devin Tate just try and get that extra yard here. To give them 4 more downs would be my guess.
And you'd have to think here, if you're Springville, you're about a yard away from the marker. You're probably in 2-down territory with the way you've ran the ball tonight.
That's true. You could go play action pass in this situation as well.
I formation, 3rd and 1 needed. Here's the give right up the middle to Nelson. Flags come flying in. And again, it looks like it's going to be offsides against Springville. And it's very uncommon to see an offside penalty called on the offense.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the rule is. We'll have to look this up, but it's got to be somebody lining off in the neutral zone or where they shouldn't be, and because he's blown it dead. And it's not that anybody's jumping, it's just they're lining up off sides. I can't see who that is.
And now sets up about a 3rd and 6 instead of a 3rd and 1. Here's the give right up the middle. It looks like that was the quarterback. Was that Thorpe on the keeper? No, that was Adam Rodriguez, number 6, on the Wildcat keeper.
And that went nowhere. And the whole right side of the Springville line must not have known the counter. The center snapped it too fast because they just stood there in their stance forever.
4th down and 6. We'll see here how Springville is going to play this. They're kind of in no man's land in high school football. It'd be a very long field goal try, but you're not really far enough away to punt, and the Red Devils are going to go for it here. They'll split the huddle with 2 wide receivers. McCray to the top of your screen. I formation, Nelson the deep back, and they're going to throw. Thorpe has some time, now going to be pressured. Rolls out to the right, steps up, and he's going to be brought down. Number 73. And
Tanner Parker. He got there.
And that's one of those things. Thorpe didn't have really anything, as we'll see here on the Car Guys instant replay. He didn't have a lot downfield. You could tell him trying to go through directions, and right there, Tanner Parker able to get there and bring him down.
Now, that was a great job of Parker pursuing the quarterback. He beat his man off the line and was able to use that sideline to eventually get to him and get a big Lance Wilson State Farm assist that time as he assisted him to the ground.
So definitely a good set here, and that gives your offense a little more confidence now as you're taking the field, not trailing. Here's Kiesel. He steps up in the pocket. He's going to get hit as he throws, and that, I'm waiting to see the flag come in for grounding.
Instead of taking a big hit like that.
2nd and 10 coming up here for Spanish 4. Sorry, not 2nd and 10. It's going to be about, I want to say 2nd and 22 coming up from their own 27. So both teams at times tonight have been in these 2nd and 22s. And really, if you're going to get in these 2nd and really longs, that game's got to favor Spanish Fork a little bit more than Springville.
Right, and both teams started out, their offenses were very hot, and now it's kind of been a defensive battle here. It's been an interesting quarter.
3 wide receivers. Kiesel steps back to throw. Throws it out in the flat, kind of diving, trying to come up with it there. And that one falling incomplete. Brooks Ringer once again trying to come up with it, and that's going to bring up 3rd and 22.
And Kiesel might have done him a favor by throwing that ball short, because I believe that Brooks Ringer would have got ringed that time.
3rd down and 22. And so this is a big situation here. Nate Kiesel's got the arm. This is kind of when you got to look probably for somebody running a vertical route. They've had an opportunity to get behind him. And with the way the Springville secondary, you can't see it on your screen, Noah McCray he's playing about 10 yards off the ball.
Look for Higginson on the right side there.
Kiesel with time, looking down the field. Pendleton's got a step on him, and he goes in and out of his hands. Bryce Nelson kind of was right there to just kind of give him a push as he went to make that catch.
Oh. Great recovery by Bryce Nelson. He was beat. If that ball would have been 1 yard out in front, we'd be looking at the 13-6 on the scoreboard right now.
Wade Stanton going to come in. That's a good ball thrown by Kiesel right there. But yeah, Bryce Nelson just getting enough contact there with Pendleton as that ball came in to make sure it goes incomplete. And we're going to have unsportsmanlike conduct penalty here against Spanish Fork. Another sideline here. The official indicating once again, telling that sideline to back up. So now that's going to move the Dons back even further now.
Well, that's just a huge mental mistake. They have a white line painted on the field, kids. You just got to stay behind it. That's just undisciplined play by the bench.
4th and 27. Way Stanton's faked a couple of punts this year and gotten first downs. He'll kind of run out and he'll get this punt off, and he gets knocked down, but that's going to be a fair catch. Is going to be called for here by Springville, as on the return was Hollinger, number 36, and you could tell Spanish Fork kind of wanted a penalty for the bump there, but
Colton Tuttle stops. His momentum carried him into a little bit, but Wee Stanton pretty much ran into him, so I think that's kind of a good no call.
So 2:29 to go in the first quarter. Thanks for joining us here on a Friday night. The lights beginning to come on, and the good old adage that it's Friday night lights here in Spanish Fork. Yes. Ready to go here for rivalry football.
Life is beautiful tonight, that's for sure, Ryan.
1st and 10, ball on the 47-yard line for Springville. Here's the pitch, goes outside. Bryce Nelson, he's going to get brought down, and Mace Funa, number 18, gets there and just brings Bryce Nelson down for a loss of about a yard.
I'm going to demand to see Mace Funa's birth certificate, because there's no way that kid's 14 years old. Holy cow, what a play.
It's not that he just made the tackle. He, picks Bryce Nelson up and just kind of toss. I mean, not gives him a strong toss, but, Bryce Nelson doesn't exactly just fall to the ground there.
That was a solid tackle, as you stated.
2nd and 11. Nelson here, the single back. Shotgun set. Here's Nelson on the Wildcat, and Mace Spoon almost got him again. He makes one man miss, but then getting there was number 30. Getting right there, and that was Barkley.
I was really worried coming into this game because Spanish Fork got dominated by the Salem Hills front line, and they've done an amazing job of holding the line of scrimmage here, if you don't count the first possession for Springville.
And now it's 3rd and 13, and once again you have Springville in a position where they're going to have to go down the field. If you can keep them in these 3rd and 13s, 3rd and 10s, and make them go to that passing game. Not that Springville's a bad passing team, it's just not their bread and butter.
It's not, and the Dons have 11 interceptions in the first 4 games. That is huge.
3rd and 13, Thorpe, 3-step drop, flags come in. And where this comes in, this is going to be, it looks like a false start, or I'm sorry, illegal procedure, as it's known in high school football, against Springville. So now it's a 3rd and 18 for the Red Devils.
And the Devils have done that multiple times tonight. That's at least the 5th offsides or procedure penalty by this offense. And you're not going to win very many ball games when you're having to gain 15 yards in between the sticks, 20 yards instead of just the necessary 10. It's hard enough to get 10 yards.
Clock runs under a minute to go, first quarter, and the Spanish Fork Dons lead this one 7-6 here on the Spanish Fork Community Network as we get ready to go here with Jansen Thorpe from shotgun. 3-step drop, Thorpe drops back to throw. He's going to be pressured, he gets drilled, the ball's laid out, it's batted up and knocked down. We'll see no flag in the backfield as Salofa Funa came in, and I tell you, Jansen Thorpe's probably going to have nightmares about that one because he got drilled.
He did get drilled that time. What pressure, and a great job by the secondaries. They were able to bring pressure with only bringing 5 that time, which there were 3 guys that had a shot at picking that.
Devin Argyle was there to get his hand on it, and with 29 seconds to go, it will be Tanner Argyle and Way Stanton back deep to receive the punt. Good snap. The punt is almost blocked, but it's going to be a decent punt. Coming up is Stanton, and he makes the play and a fair catch around the 30-yard line. So one thing, too, that's helped Spanish Fork so far, they've had decent field position when they've had the ball.
They've had, and that led to that early touchdown. It seemed like at times this season they keep putting themselves in bad field position, and they've had a hard time flipping the field. I mean, they're 3-1, so they've had a great season so far to this point. But field position is going to be key in this battle.
So 1st and 10 coming up here. Heredia a little bit late getting on the field here for Spanish Fork. Ready to go. Kiesel from shotgun takes the snap. Immediately has to roll. He's got 3 Devils on him, and that one's going to be knocked incomplete. Heredia tried to make the play. Devin Tate over the middle from his linebacker spot. Hits Tate right about the time the ball gets there.
Yeah, and that time Adam Rodriguez came in like a rocket. Wow, he got into the backfield before Kiesel even knew what was going on.
This Springville defense, like you mentioned earlier in the first quarter, Chris, this defense for Springville has been very good this year. Not necessarily a defense that's going to allow you to score a lot of points.
Right, and that's why that first possession was critical where they got that 7 points.
Kiesel, 3-step drop throws. That one's complete. It's going to be right around the marker as the nice little catch and run as Isaac Pendleton makes the play, and he gets just short of the marker. That's going to stop the clock momentarily, and they're going to move the chains here, give them enough for a first down, and now the clock begins to run here.
And that Pendleton is a great possession receiver. We've seen him catch multiple balls in that range as he leads the team in catches with 15.
And that's going to end the first quarter here at Spanish Fork High School. We've had a couple of exciting scores, a long touchdown pass to Jackson Higginson, and then a Devin Tate 75-yard touchdown run. At the end of one, it's Spanish Fork 6, Spanish Fork 7, Springville 6. You're watching high school football here on the Spanish Fork Community Network.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork. You know Triple T Heating and Cooling.
Start of the second quarter here on the Spanish Fork Community Network. Spanish Fork 7, Springville 6. Nate Kiesel can't handle the snap, and the ball is loose, and Springville says they got it. We'll see here as they separate, and it is Springville football.
Now that snap was way low, and then Adam Rodriguez comes up with it for the Red Devils. That play was doomed from the start.
And you talk about how big momentum shifts are, and now that all of a sudden not just flips the momentum, but flips the field for Springville.
Yeah, and they're barring a string of penalties that puts them in bad field position. They're in great field position to go down and take the lead in this game.
Thank you for joining us here, Ryan Pickens, alongside Chris Hurst here at Spanish Fork High School. We'd like to thank our whole rest of our team here with us, making this broadcast possible. And now we're going to get an illegal, it looks like an illegal motion against Springville.
Wow. I wonder what the quota of offsides and illegal procedure penalties were tonight in this ball game, as that has been at least. How many is that so far? 6, 7?
That's got to be about, at least 6 or 7 penalties. And it's just hard to win a football game when you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot every time you get down the field.
Right, and they're doing it consistently.
First down and 15. Ball back on the 40-yard line. And they're going to give it right up the middle. Here's Devin Tate. He gets maybe a couple of yards over the line of scrimmage. And then the linebackers, it looks like number 10, Landon Jensen, getting in there on this tackle, alongside with Devin Argyle. They just kind of get in there and just kind of go and just kind of hit him.
That's I was going to say that's great gap control by the Dons defenses. They're just filling all the running holes. It looks like Springville might be running a little bit of a zone read where they're not exactly sure what hole that they're going to go through, but Spanish Fork is plugging all the gaps.
Second down and 12. Springville's going to have 2 receivers, one at the top and the bottom. Here's the direct snap to Nelson. Nelson gets to the 35, down to the 34-yard line. He's dragged down from behind. So we've seen Bryce Nelson in a lot of different ways, including to see that little kind of wildcat formation.
Well, I just hit somebody, so I wasn't really paying attention that time. But to your point,
I think that wildcat
formation is really, if you're the Dons, you know, you can just rear back and rush after it because they're probably not going to throw out of it.
Bryce Nelson from shotgun here once again. He is the deep guy here. He's going to take the direct snap right up the middle to the 30, and he's going to be brought down as getting there once again was number 41, Philemone Tukuafu, gets there to bring him down. And that's going to bring up about a 4th and about 4.
And this would be a huge 4 and out if the Dons can stop them here. They had that one bad snap, but other than that, they've played very sound football tonight where the region favorite Springville's come in and they've had plenty of penalty issues and mental mistakes.
Springville picked by many writers throughout the state to win Region 8. Trying to do that here. They barely get the snap off. Thorpe's going to go down the field, but throws it behind his intended receiver, Pereiro, and that goes incomplete. That's a turnover on downs.
Yeah, that's a huge stop for the Dons. They started with their backs against the wall at their own 35 as Springville took the field, and they did a great job of getting their offense back on the field. If I'm Spanish Fork here, though, I want to maybe go over the top to number 84, Jackson Higginson this time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It worked earlier where Higginson got just one step on a guy, and it was a foot race to the end zone. And now we'll see here how Spanish Fork plays it. 1st and 10 from their own 30, and half the Red Devils jump. Adam Rodriguez was already about to shake Nate Kiesel's hand when the flag came in.
I wonder if somebody jumped on the line because all 3 guys hit the gap, or if they were just trying to guess the snap count.
And we'll see. It's going to be offsides against Springville. So now not just the offense having kind of some mental difficulties, but now the defense. And
it might be Springville just is a little too amped up for this game. They sure haven't played smart football to this point in the ball game.
Crosstown rivalry. The corners will play a little bit off the Spanish Fork receivers. One safety back deep. Kiesel with some time. He's going to look deep. He's got Pendleton, who has a couple of steps. It's complete to the 20-yard line where Pendleton's brought down. Once again, Isaac Pendleton getting a couple of steps on his receiver.
That was a great job of him getting past Reimer that time, the cornerback, and even better until I just saw the penalty. We got to all stop now. We got to hold.
That's going to be a hold here, and that's going to bring all this back. So the big play that you got, and that's exactly what you were talking about, Chris, how look for him to go over the top. They get a great play, but because of mental miscue here on the penalty, it's all coming back. Holding indicated against Spanish Fork, and so now that's going to bring it back to 1st down and a little bit here.
Probably be 1st and well, he's marching way back. That was a 15-yard hold. Must have been way back in the backfield.
Yeah, because I guess the holding penalty kind of comes back from the spot of the foul. And so now it's 1st and 21. But that deep ball is going to be there, I think, multiple times tonight if you're Spanish Fork. But now a big opportunity coming here with the 3 wide receivers. Nate Kiesel here from the shotgun, single back set. Kiesel going to take the direct snap. He's immediately chased from behind, and he's going to get across the 20 out to around the 22-yard line before he's brought down. It looks like Adam Rodriguez once again just kind of comes untouched from that rush end, is able to bring him down.
Yeah, and he was preseason All-State this season, so Adam Rodriguez had a great season last year, and he's bringing it here tonight as well.
So clock right now running, 9:05 to go. Second quarter, and it's going to be 2nd down after a gain of a couple, 2nd and 15 coming up here for Spanish Fork. Kiesel steps back to pass, has some time. He's going to throw it over the middle, incomplete. Looking over the middle there, it looks like it was intended for Braden Christensen. Sorry, that's Colt Condi. Right there.
I was going to mention Adam Rodriguez came into this game with 6 sacks. He might already have one tonight as well. But he is going to spend a lot of time meeting Mr. Nate Kiesel tonight.
And that's really where that offensive line has to step up and protect. They did that on that first drive and early on in the ball game, and you saw what happened. Spanish Fork is able to go right down the field and score.
I think they've done a lot better job of protecting Kiesel so far in this game than they have in some of the previous ball games.
3rd and 15. Spanish Fork needs the 40 for a 1st down. Flags fly immediately. And this is going to be, looks like a procedure call against Spanish Fork. So now 3rd and 20. So both teams kind of plagued themselves right now so far by the penalty book.
Yeah, I mean, I have not seen a game like this except for maybe in the first week of the season where we're in the second quarter with 8:48 and we've already seen probably double-digit penalties between both the teams, and 90% of them have been offsides or illegal procedure.
And it's not like, I mean, and this is going to sound bad and a lot of coaches would disagree, it's not like these are personal fouls or guys are just too energized. These are the small little things that you don't want to see. Kiesel throws over the middle, in and out of the hands there of Brooks Ringer, and that's going to bring up 4th down. The reason why I bring that up is maybe you can live with a personal foul because someone just gets a little too amped up, but when you're getting multiple procedure calls because you're not timing the snap right, those are going to drive a coach nuts.
And those are concentration penalties. Both teams just need to concentrate a little better here, and maybe we'll get a little cleaner ball game. But if the refs are getting paid by the flag, they're going to be rich after this game.
4th and 24. Wade Stanton back to his own 4. Low snap. He's going to do the rugby-style punt. A pretty good kick. It's going to bounce, and it looks like it kind of got muffed or kind of just bounced up into the hands of the return man for Springville. It looks like Bennett Hollinger, or sorry, not Hollinger. That's 27.
Jackson Child.
And he just kind of looked like he wasn't expecting that. All of a sudden went, oh, there's the ball. Another kind of disastrous penalty. That ball bounces a lot of times. You're telling kids, get away from it. Yeah,
and they didn't. They just stood there, and Jackson Child let the ball hit him. Fortunately, it hit him where he could grab it and get down to the ground. Yeah, if you're not going to catch it, you need to get away from that ball because who knows what direction it's going to go. It's not. It's it's an oblong-shaped ball, so it can go a lot of different directions.
Bryce Nelson gets the carry on 1st down, out across the 45 to about the 48-yard line. A quick carry of about 2. And this is one thing that we saw last year in the kind of the Springville Maple Mountain game. The reason why I bring that up, Chris, that was a game that you and I saw against Springville. They just pounded the run.
Yeah, they did. And when you do that, you wear a team out, especially when you have the ball the whole game. Some of these 3-4 yard runs end up being 40, 50, 20. Just because the defense doesn't want to tackle you anymore. Their arms are bruised up, those type of things.
And then the other thing it does, especially in the second half, you get a lead, that starts ticking the clock. Right up the middle, Bryce Nelson brought down in the backfield. Salofa Funa got in there and just quickly brings him down with the ankle tackle.
Yeah, Salofa Funa has having himself a heck of a ball game so far this evening, as he has done a great job of getting into the backfield of the Red Devils.
And so now it's going to bring up 3rd down and 10. A big situation here. Bryce Larson trying to tell the student section to get loud here on this 3rd and 10. Springville is very content with letting that play clock just kind of run. Typically they'll snap it somewhere between about 5, between 0 and 5 really. We get down to about 5 here before Thorpe takes the snap. Pressure from behind, lays it out deep, got a man, and in and out kind of over the head there. Looks like that was intended for number 28. That's Brennan Reimer running deep, and it goes incomplete.
You have a great job by that front 7 of getting pressure once again as Salofa Funa puts Thorpe on his back. And that's another Lance Wilson State Farm assist as Salofa Funa made Thorpe throw the ball sooner than he wanted to. Assisted him there that time.
4th down and 10. Springville's going to punt. It's Argyle and Stanton back deep. Good snap. Here comes the punt. Coming away, Stanton Way will call fair catch with it and makes the play. Or sorry, Way Stanton calls for the fair catch at the 16-yard line. 6:56 to go in the first half. It's a 1-point ball game, 7-6 in favor of the Spanish Fork Dons.
And they had that missed extra point that went straight in the air for Springville, and that was the difference between Springville and Maple Mountain. Last week was a missed extra point, or a blocked extra point that Springville blocked for Maple Mountain. So those extra points are huge, and we saw that earlier this season when Spanish lost by 3 to the Orem Tigers, and they missed 3 extra points in that game.
Nate Kiesel has Salofa Funa in the backfield on first down. Takes a little three-step drop in and out of the hands. It looks like of Isaac Pendleton right there. He just went to catch that and just kind of had butter on his fingers and couldn't quite haul it in.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not easy to catch a football going at that speed from that close, so just couldn't quite get a grip on it, and maybe he was thinking I need to get upfield as well, but yeah, catch, then run.
And the closing speed, these corners for Springville are really good at closing that gap. And so that was probably, like you said, probably just worried about getting the upfield before he had possession of the ball. 6:53 to go. Second down at 10. Three-step drop. Kiesel throws over the middle. Here's Braden Christensen. He's got some room to run. He's going to get about 8 yards out to about the 25-yard line. And that brings up about a third and about 2 coming up here for Spanish Fork.
And Spanish Fork has found a hole in this defense as Christensen's went over the middle multiple times in this game. And I don't remember him having that many catches this season. But that tight end is something that the Dons have been utilizing early. And we'll see if Springville makes any adjustments.
Brooks Ringer heads to the sideline. Jackson Higginson back onto the field here for Spanish Fork. As Higginson will go to the very bottom of your screen. He's kind of out of your picture right now. And flags fly again on the snap. And instead of a 3rd and 1, you're probably timeout called by Spanish Fork. Sorry, I heard that whistle, and with the way the game's been going, I just kind of assumed a penalty.
I assumed the same thing.
So 6:12 to go before halftime. Let's take a moment here and thank our sponsors.
We've got multiple sponsors tonight. We got the Car Guys with the instant replay. State Farm, Lance Wilson State Farm with the assist of the game. MVP Sports, who sponsors the MVP player of the game. 2 Jacks Pizza down on Main Street. I love some 2 Jacks Pizza. Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing down on Main Street as well. And, of course, SFCN, who brings you these wonderful broadcasts here on Channel 17.
So we thank those sponsors for helping make this broadcast possible, along with our entire crew here with us, our guys operating the cameras, our guy making sure we sound good on the air with you, and of course our producer always does a great job of getting all of our Car Guys instant replays up for us.
Right. If you're ever out of town and you want to watch a game, they're on YouTube or the Spanish Fork Community Network website.
And Springville looks like they jumped right there, and that's going to give Spanish Fork an automatic first down.
And that's huge. I don't know what the deal is with Springville, but man, they've had a lot of those just line. The play hasn't even started. Penalties. I don't even know how to describe them, but
I don't know if they're just getting too excited or they're trying to. I mean, I don't mean this. It's not like this is a kind of a loud college stadium here, where you're just trying to maybe go on the first motion. I mean, this is a pretty relatively quiet night. Here's the pass out to the flat, and that's it looks like it's complete or incomplete to Landon Jensen. That's going to bring up second down.
Just couldn't quite get his hands underneath it. It was thrown a little low that time by Kiesel. But Kiesel's played pretty well, and he doesn't have a high completion percentage this season yet, but he's done a good job of making sure he puts the ball where only his receiver can get it.
Last update, Maple Mountain and Tooele, no score. That was really early in the first quarter. Tooele, of course, having their homecoming night. Maple Mountain trying to play spoiler. That one's over to Isaac Pendleton. Pendleton's going to get around maybe 3 or 4 out to around the 35-yard line. Of course, the big game next week here on Spanish Fork 17. Spanish Fork heads to crosstown rival Maple Mountain, and it should be a fun and exciting game. That one right here on Spanish Fork 17.
And I'm going to be streaming that on YouTube as I'll be out of town next week.
So I'll miss you, buddy, but it's going to be an exciting one for sure.
It should be an exciting battle. Yeah, you might want to put your seatbelt on, because when those two teams get together, I've seen some crazy finishes.
That's for sure. It's 3rd down and 6. Kiesel's going to be pressured. He's going to be brought down in the backfield. Number 82 got there. That was Sept, Sean Holloway. Number 82 gets there, and he just lowers Nate Kiesel to the ground there.
Yeah, wow, and he hit Kiesel, number 11, so hard that time. I wonder if Kiesel, I don't know, he can't take too many hits like that. Hopefully he's all right.
As you can see there, he just comes and he just gets everything lowered, and he's kind of a little slower to get up. But
and Kiesel was kind of sliding down. He was in a vulnerable position.
Way Stanton gets the punt off, kind of a wobbly punt, and that one comes up and hits dead on the ground, and then it's going to be picked up. A flag comes in, and I'm assuming this is going to be probably kick-catch interference against Spanish Fork. I'm just assuming from where the flag came in.
And if that's the case, they'll move the ball up from the 39, and Springville will have excellent field position again. But they haven't been able to capitalize on it.
We'll see here. We're waiting for the official call with 4:43 to go before halftime. It will be catch interference. It's kind of a tongue twister against Spanish Fork here. And that's going to, like you said, instead of the ball being on the 39, they're going to mark it off. I believe it's going to be down to about the 26-yard line. And that's going to be it's going to be, right around the 24-yard line. And so great, you can't ask for better field positioning for Springville. And now a lot of pressure becomes on that Spanish Fork defense. Can the Dawn defense answer the call? We'll find out right here. I formation set. It's going to be under center. Here's the pitch outside to Larson. Larson gets to the 25, still on his feet inside the 20, lowers his head, and he's down to about the 8-yard line or so, as it was Bryce Nelson, on the carry, and he gets inside the 10-yard line.
Now if you're the Dons here, you got to come up with a huge stop. They've been doing it all night, so I anticipate we'll see Springville try and pound the ball into the end zone, but we'll see if Spanish Fork's front seven can keep them out.
And so here we'll see here, clock will begin to run, 4:20 to go before halftime. Two wide receivers, I formation, Thorpe under center. And flags fly. Here is the snap, and this looks to be another illegal procedure penalty. And this is not what you want if you're Springville. They have to be close to 10 penalties here in the first half. Most of them kind of simple, kind of mental penalties.
It's offsides. That's got to be 7 times that they've lined up offsides. I've never seen anything like this at any level.
And so it's definitely something I'm sure that Coach Willie Child's going to talk about at the halftime. Here's Adam Rodriguez straight up the middle on the Wildcat as Trujillo is able to get there and brings him down.
Also number 77 there. 73, Tanner Parker making himself known, as they've done a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage.
Trujillo getting in there, and now it brings up 2nd and goal back from the 14-yard line. 3:41 to go. Springville and Spanish Fork each with 2 timeouts here. Some confusion it looks to be here on the Springville sideline. Both receivers going to one side. Finally, the other one says, no, you're on the other side. 2nd and 14. The rollout. Thorpe going to dump it off to Tate at the 10, to the 5. Leaps a guy, comes down to about the 4, and just kind of flips and almost lands on his head.
Yeah, that was a great job, though, of Tanner Argyle staying up high enough to knock him over, because he was planning on jumping over. As we'll see that here, this leap on the car guy's instant replay, that can be dangerous if you're Tate. You're up in the air like that high, and you cartwheel on your neck.
It's dangerous, too, to make sure you hold on to the ball. Because if I get up and get vertical and I'm not realizing I'm going to land on my head, Chris, there's probably a good chance the holding on to the ball might not be my number 1 priority.
Exactly.
3rd down and goal. Big play coming here. I formation set. The pitch goes outside to Nelson. He's trying to turn the corner, and he's going to be close. He got in?
He got in.
Yes, he did. Touchdown, Springville.
Well, that wasn't the prettiest drive that Springville puts up, but on 3rd down, they punch it in.
And that's just one of those carries outside that we talked about. Eventually, they would probably take advantage here of that play, and that's exactly what they do. The short field ends up coming back to hurt Spanish Fork here with 2:34 to go in the first half.
And looks like Springville might be lining up and going for 2, trying to get that extra point they missed back.
And they are. And right now, you got to think with the way they've been running the football tonight, they have a pretty good opportunity here to move the ball a couple of yards.
They've got Nelson in there and Tate as well at fullback.
Here's the pitch outside. Nelson at the 5, trying to get to the corner, and he lowers his shoulder and gets in for the 2. It's a 14-7 game here right now, and that's just simple. That's exactly what we saw Springville do a lot of last year. Nothing flashy, just going with that dive or going with that sweep outside.
Yeah, and that's Springville's game plan. Just run over you, wear you out, and it worked that time as they take a 14-7 lead. Now, if you're Spanish Fork, you got 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Be a good opportunity to maybe try and go deep here and get that back and take the momentum back. I'm looking over at the Springville crowd there, and I see some interesting hat wear. Can you?
I can't make that out from here.
You can't make that out from here. Looks like they might be mocking the Dons a little bit tonight as they. I'm not sure what that's called. Maybe a sombrero or something going on over there.
That's definitely something here as you see Coach Jordan Smith having a quick word here with the official, but definitely something to kind of look at as we go throughout this ball game is now the momentum's kind of shifted. This is a big drive for Spanish Fork.
Right. At the same time, you want to play smart. If they turn it over here too, it could be disastrous. You don't want to go into halftime trailing by 2 touchdowns.
Uinta and Salem Hills tied at 7, end of the first quarter.
Wow.
Just a score to pass along as the kick comes underway. That one going deep. Leo Saili running over. He's going to take it on the run from about the 1. Gets outside across the 15. Makes a man miss out across here. He's going to cut around the 20-yard line. And a lot of running there for Saili for 25 yards.
And the kids in front of us are way excited for a 25-yard return, but hey, he ran clear across the field twice just to get to that. Great effort by Saili. Sometimes, though, it might be better just to let the ball go into the end zone. He got lucky to get past the 20.
So definitely something. Maple Mountain's gotten 2 Tanner Dayton field goals. Last score update I saw 6-0 Golden Eagles. That one on the road in Tooele.
And Uinta is tied with Springville and Spanish Fork atop Region 8 here as those 3 teams are 1-0. They beat Payson.
Kiesel drops back to roll as the band still plays. Kiesel's going to go deep. Got a man out there one-on-one. That one's complete. Brooks Ringer breaking a tackle, and he's going to be down to about the 10-yard line. Brooks Ringer one-on-one coverage, and Spanish Fork responds.
Yeah, and Springville is not respecting the deep ball. That's the 3rd time they've gone over the top. One of them came back due to a penalty, but that's going to be open all night. And Kiesel has a cannon for an arm.
I mean, he puts that. He probably has another few yards on that, and that's a touchdown-saving tackle there by Bryce Nelson. If not, we're an extra point away from this game being tied, and mass substitutions coming on. Brooks Ringer will head to the sideline. Salofa and Mace Funa running in the ball game. So you have to kind of wonder here if we're not going to get kind of a very quick kind of run play coming here. As this is an interesting formation, Chris. You put Mace Funa and Salofa Funa both in the backfield with Nate Kiesel. Who's going to get the ball here? I could see you giving it to any one of the 3.
They're going to throw it.
Kiesel's going to roll out here. He's looking for Higginson back of the end zone, and Higginson goes for it, but reaches out with the one hand and couldn't quite come up with it.
And once again, Kiesel got hit, that time by number 82, Sean Holloway.
The second time Holloway's given him a hit tonight, and with 1:55 to go before halftime. And that's the thing, Nate Kiesel a little slower to get up after that. A quarterback's going to take so many hits as it is. You can't have him taking what some coaches might call maybe unnecessary hits.
Right, and one thing that the coaching staff has done this week is we haven't seen any quarterback designed runs. I know Kiesel might be the best running back on the team. He leads the team in rushing, and he just happens to play quarterback. But we haven't seen a lot of that tonight. They've limited the number of hits he's taken.
Ringer, Higginson, Pendleton, the receivers. 3-step drop. Kiesel now going to be pressured. He's going to throw that one.
Ooh.
And that one goes incomplete as it looks like making a diving attempt there. It's one of the Springville linebackers.
I believe that was Daxton Polson that nearly came up with the INT, as that was just an errant pass, and that's something you don't want to do in the red zone.
I'd rather have him throw it away and just throw it as far out to the sidelines there than try to throw it over the middle, but I'm sure that's probably one Nate Kiesel might want back.
And who knows, maybe it slipped out of his hand, you know. It just didn't look like that's the place he'd normally go. He usually makes pretty good decisions with the ball.
3rd down and 10, 1:49 to go before halftime. Each team, once again, with 2 timeouts. Spanish Fork a little more comfortable here, working a little slower than their typical halftime or their typical offense. Ready to go, 3-step drop. Kiesel throws the screen pass, gets it out there, lowering his head, and getting close to the pylon, but going to be a couple of yards short.
Salofa Funa, yeah.
Salofa Funa.
Yeah, Funa that time. That was a great play design. Springville's been bringing a lot of pressure. And how do you counter pressure? Sometimes it's with a screen pass, and they set that up to the right side of the field. And I thought he was in for 6, but great job by Springville's linebackers adjusting over and making the tackle.
Tooele Maple Mountain tied. Last score update, 6-6. And that one out.
I believe we're going to show highlights of that game. We got a camera up there.
Yeah, so you'll see highlights here on Spanish Fork 17. The Dons have to hurry. They got 3 on the play clock, and I have a feeling Jordan Smith, and he does. He calls a timeout here with 1 minute to go, and that clock is still running even though they called timeout. And now the clock will stop, so I'm pretty sure you'll find that
they're going to adjust it up here.
Adjust it here as the official comes over to make that adjustment. But, I mean, Chris, there's a couple of interesting storylines here. I know we're big in Region 8, and, you know, a lot of people are excited about not having Timpview in this game. But let me just ask you a question. If I was to tell you Timpview was playing Provo tonight, which team would you say would be undefeated?
I would, in most years, say it would be Timpview, but I know for a fact that it's Provo, and that is a shocker.
I mean, what Viliami Ayongi is doing there at quarterback is having just a phenomenal year. 13 touchdown passes. You know, how much, you know, I know a lot of people are excited to have Timpview out of the region. Kind of one of those interesting storylines throughout the state that we're kind of keeping an eye on tonight. And it's just one of those things where you take a look at that, you can build a program, and what Coach McGeary's doing there at Provo's pretty good to turn that program around that quickly.
Yeah, and we saw them last year over at Provo, and they were a young team, and they had a lot of talent. It's just, you know, sometimes the young talent sneaks over to Timpview. They've got open enrollment and those type of things, but Provo's done a great job of keeping those guys together.
Here we go, 4th and goal for Spanish Fork. And Braden Christensen jumps. Christensen got a little, I think, too excited there, and now a 4th and goal from the 3. He's going to turn to a 4th and goal from the 8. And we'll see here what they're going to do, and they're going to, looks like, pull. Kiesel's going to come over the sideline here. Mace Funa came over as well. We'll see here. Funa's going to be set back in, but not the call you want. Yeah. Definitely not what you want here with under a minute when you're close striking distance.
Right, and this is going to change the play call. They're going to have to throw it here. They just don't have that run game like they've had in the past, just to run it up the middle.
So they got to get 9 here to get in the end zone. Anything but 9, and it's a turnover on downs, barring a penalty that would give them an automatic first down. Kiesel's going to roll out on the play action. He's going to throw to the end zone, in and out of the hands. It looks like just went right through Braden Christensen's hands. Mace Funa was there as well, and the ball goes incomplete. And there, I think, as
we got a flag.
Holding call.
They'll be declined
against Spanish Fork. The penalties declined. First down, Red Devils, with 55 seconds to go. And this is a situation where probably Springville keeps it on the ground. And they have to be somewhat, if you're Coach Willie Child, and I'm sure we'll talk more about this at halftime and probably before the third quarter, you have to be pretty content with having a 7-point lead at the half with the way your first half's gone mentally.
Yeah, Willie Child's defense has really stepped up and played great tonight. They had that one, Spanish Fork had that one drive early and a couple deep passes. That's something they'll need to adjust at halftime.
They're going to go into the, I don't want to call it the victory formation. I guess I'll call it the halftime formation as Jansen Thorpe takes a knee. And I think Spanish Fork called their first time out.
We got offsides on Springville.
I was going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and that's going to be half a distance, so that will take it from the 8 to the 4-yard line.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing. I wouldn't laugh if it hadn't happened a dozen times. I think we might get a baker's dozen here before the end of the half.
That's definitely going to be a situation where, because Chris, it's not like they're either jumping too, they're just lining
up off sides.
And that's something, that's one of those mental things you have to understand where that line of scrimmage is if you're Springville.
Exactly, and that's just a formation penalty or something like that, but.
And the Red Devils are going to call a timeout here as the ball goes back to their own 3. There's not a lot of room for Jansen Thorpe here to take a knee.
Right. I think you just give it to the fullback, Devin Tate, line him up. Who knows, maybe he'll break off a 97-yard run. He had that one earlier for 75. I'm being told that's not going to happen. But that's what they might want to try. That's what I would do if I was Coach Childs.
Well, I mean, I don't want to make it this, well, and I think it's just one of those things, with 50 seconds to go. I think you're right. I think you go right up the middle, give him the fullback carry, and just let him try to see what Devin Tate can do. If he breaks a big run here all of a sudden, boy, I tell you, maybe then at that point you can get something going, but you got to get more real estate to work with than having your guys pinned back in their own end zone. And they got Bryce Nelson in there and Devin Tate in the I formation here.
And isn't it refreshing to see a team run the I formation? It's all about the spread these days. Sometimes I like a little 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
So pressure comes right up the middle, flags fly, and this I think is going to go offsides against Spanish Fork. Mateen Lomax.
No.
Did it not?
It's a legal procedure.
And that's going to move the ball back now to the 1.5.
Yeah, if you're Spanish Fork, rear your ears back and just get after the ball. You can get a safety here and make up a couple points.
Looks like number 30, Jess Barkley, just was doing that. Just runs right up and then just goes. And I saw that lunge forward, and I thought for sure when the flag came in, they were going to say that he jumped. But we'll see here. Ball now back inside the 1.5-yard line. I formation set. Devin Tate, the fullback. Nelson, the deep back. Here's the quarterback keeper with Thorpe. He's going to get out to the 4-yard line. I was going to see if maybe a Spanish Fork might use that timeout. It looks like they won't, though, and that clock will run.
Yeah, I would use that timeout right here, force them to try and get the ball out of the end zone. But now you're in a position where Springville might, well, it's still on the 3. I think you just run the ball up the middle one more time.
One more play, and that will probably do our first half here at Spanish Fork. As once again, the I formation, we'll probably see something similar to the first play. And this time taking a knee, it looks like, was Jansen Thorpe. And that looks like it's going to do it here for the first half.
No, we got a flag.
And once again, Chris, I am glad that you're here offsides again against Springville.
Well.
And that's really where I don't know if I coach Jordan Smith, if it didn't use that timeout earlier, because now, I mean, you really look at it.
He's still got one, and they're just going to let the clock run out.
They haven't been able to try to see here if Springville's had a hard time staying onside, and so why not just call a timeout and make them keep lining up? I don't know, but at the end of the day, Chris, we're at halftime. It's a 14-7 lead for the Springville Red Devils. The Red Devils trying to increase to 5-0. We're going to have a 20-minute halftime here to kind of give the homecoming festivities. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to send it down to the sideline to Ken Money, who has the halftime show. You're watching high school football here on the Spanish Fork Community Network.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork. You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today.
Halftime here at
kind of a chippy, cold homecoming night. I'm your host, Ken Money, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jay Sprinkerhoff. Jay, thanks for filling in. You're filling in for Sam Higginson. We both know where Sam is. Supposedly he's working. Do you know where he is?
Yeah, I think he's in France or something like that. So
that's the word I got. He's in France working, and he's watching us. So we give him a shout out. His son caught a big catch in that first half. But anyway, it's been a fun homecoming night, full of lots of festivities and a pretty good football game.
Yeah, it has been a pretty good football game. A lot of penalties both ways, so hopefully they can clean it up at halftime and we'll have a good second half, but it's been a pretty good game so far.
It really has. The first quarter, such an interesting thing. Spanish Fork goes down, scores right off the bat with their first possession, a big 35-yard pass completion to Higginson, and then they kick off to Springville. Springville, a quick 75-yard run, and all of a sudden it's 7. They miss an extra point at 7-6, and then we don't even see any more scoring till late in the first half.
Yeah, things really slowed down after the first two big plays. Teams kind of settled in. But again, I think the big story was there was a lot of penalties in the first half, and not really either team could get anything going until right there at the end when Springville scored late in that second quarter.
Yeah, I feel like there was really no momentum on either side, but so many penalties. We lost count with Spanish Fork at 8 penalties and Springville at 9. And how many offside penalties can Springville get in the half? That's got to be a state record right there.
Yeah, there was a ton of offside penalties by Springville in the first half, and I'm sure Coach Childs is not happy about that, and he'll be addressing that in his halftime speech, I'm sure.
Absolutely, Jason, being a Division I athlete yourself, and I don't mind saying probably the greatest hitter in UVU's history, played a lot of big-time sports events, but how does that compare, playing at that level? Here we are at high school, it's homecoming. There's really nothing like it, is there?
No, there's really not. The atmosphere here tonight is awesome. There's a lot of energy. I think both teams were a little amped to play. I think that plays into a lot of penalties in this first half, but really the atmosphere tonight here is awesome. Couldn't be much better.
It really is fun. You look in the stands, Spanish Fork really well represented. They're here. Springville did a good job. Their stands are full. And, it's a rivalry. This is a long-standing rivalry. Way before you were in high school, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is, and I mean, this goes back to my days in high school. Springville was our big rival, and so it's fun to get back here to a game when Springville and Spanish are playing and have that energy again. So
and really, both teams coming in after big emotional wins last week. Spanish Fork hanging on by 7 points to beat Salem Hills in Salem, and Springville beats Maple Mountain by just a missed extra point, 14-13. And so they're both 1-0. Whoever goes 2-0 in the region after the winner of this game is going to have a huge benefit for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, whoever wins this game is kind of in the driver's seat, and I know as far from the Spanish Fork side, it'd be a big win for them. They got a big game next week, but after that, if they can come out, I know I talked to Coach Smith before the season, and he wants to win every game, but he thought if he could start out 2-1, he'd be in a really good position. But tonight, I mean, it's a big game tonight for them, so hopefully we can get it going here in the second half.
Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on these guys for a second half. They're down. Spanish Fork's down 14-7. Let's put yourself in position. As an athlete yourself, playing here at Spanish Fork High School, you're Coach Smith. Your first season, you go in at halftime, your first homecoming game. What's he telling? Is he going in there mad? What kind of attitude do you think he's going in there to talk to the Spanish Fork guys?
Well, knowing Jordan as well as I do, I'm pretty sure he'll be pretty frustrated with the penalties and how the game's kind of been a little sloppy, so I'm sure he'll have them ready to go in the second half, clean it up a little bit. And, they've had a couple big drops. I'm sure that will be addressed as well. If we have a couple plays where the ball's not dropped, we may have a different story here at halftime. So I think that, he'll first address the penalties, and secondly, I think he'll address protecting the quarterback. Kiesel went down with a pretty hard hit there at the middle of the second quarter, so hopefully they can shore up that protection and he can have a big second half.
Absolutely, and it seems like a lot of drop passes, like you said. I don't know if it's a combination. Maybe it's a little cooler tonight. Receivers' hands are colder than they're used to, and add the pressure of a big rivalry game with Springville. I'm sure that contributes. So it's a beautiful night here. We're at Spanish Fork High School. Spanish Fork goes in at half up 14-7. We'll take a break when we come back. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the staff here at Spanish Fork High School and the jobs they do behind the scenes. We'll be back right after this word.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Saturday night, September 26th, Spanish Fork is gonna rumble as Larry H. Miller Chevrolet Provo proudly presents the second annual Rematch Results Spanish Fork fighting for a pure freestyle bullfight at the Spanish Fork Rodeo Grounds. 12 of the top freestyle bullfighters from around the country will take on the meanest and baddest fighting bulls you have ever seen. All to raise money for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Brought to you by Utah Valley Power Sports, Cabela's, and Rock Canyon Bank. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
At Curves, we know there's a part of you that's unshakable, and another part that's unbelievable, and so many parts of you that are unstoppable. Women like you have inspired us to add exciting new classes to our one-of-a-kind circuit. From brand new fitness classes that target what you care about, like your core, balance, and flexibility, to Jillian Michaels' total body workouts. The Curves circuit strengthens every part of every woman. Curves, strengthening women inside and out.
Hi, this is Paul Drockton with Drockton Bullion & Coin. Many of you are worried about paper and as a result have already invested in gold and silver. Did you know that there's a physical possession IRA where you get all the tax benefits, but you can actually manage where your gold and silver is stored? Why trust a depository where your gold may not be available when you need it? Come to Drockton Bullion & Coin. Not only do we offer gold and silver, we offer security.
Grandma, are you coming to my game today?
I have a dentist appointment. I'll try and make it.
At Gunderson Dental, we know you're busy. Family, work, friends, and everything else in your life makes it hard to make time for dental work. Dr. Gunderson and his friendly staff will help you keep on schedule so you can do those things that really matter. Same-day treatment gets more work done with fewer visits and less time. Let us help you feel and look better faster. Be there for the important moments. Call us today at Gunderson Dental in Payson.
Hey, welcome back to Spanish Fork High School and Spanish Fork 17's halftime show. It's homecoming here at Spanish Fork. The Dons going to halftime with the lead of, they're trailing Springville 14-7. And we're joined here, begrudgingly probably, on the sideline here with Brad Stone. Brad, just a fixture here at Spanish Fork High School. And we just kind of wanted to maybe talk to you for a minute. Tell the people at home a little bit about your past, what got you to your job here working at Spanish Fork High School.
Well, I worked for 33 years for Spanish Fork Police. Good career, enjoyed it. But it came time to move on to something new. Job came open down here for security at Spanish Fork High, so I jumped on that. Been here since August of 2008.
I know the kids love you guys, and it's got. How big of a change is that from when you left the streets of Spanish Fork to be in the halls of the high school?
It was quite an adjustment. Kind of went from the pros down to the amateurs with my kind of work, and I've enjoyed it a lot. Kids have a lot of energy, a lot of creativity, and it's just been a lot of fun with them.
I'm sure it kind of keeps you young. It keeps you kind of know what's going on in town and the high school. Tell us a little bit about why you're on crutches, because I noticed you're on crutches most of the last football season as well, off and on. What happened? What kind of injury?
Just wore my foot out. I'm blaming it on basketball in high school.
I know you were an athlete at Spanish Fork High School.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So they did a little bone fusion in my foot. 2.5 months I got to be off of it.
2.5 months non-weight bearing. Is it getting better?
I hope so.
You got to be really careful along these sidelines, though. When the play's coming your way, you got to be crutching to get out of the way. Okay, so I know that you're working on security at Spanish Fork High School, but that's not all you do. What other roles are you taking on for the faculty here at Spanish Fork?
A little bit of everything, whatever they need help with. But I've kind of picked up doing photography at the sporting events, and I've really enjoyed that. Tried to get to all of the different activities and sporting activities, and just provide the pictures for the kids, for the administration, whoever wants them, I give them to them.
Well, I see you at all the events, boys, girls, doesn't matter what's going on. That's a lot of hours on your own, late nights like tonight, taking pictures. But, I just know as a parent, having a son that was involved in athletics the last 3 years, the best pictures we got of his career were taken by you. They were awesome, and you're getting better and better at it. And do you have a favorite sport to take pictures? Which one is the best?
Oh, I really enjoy football and baseball, but all of them are a lot of fun. They have a little different challenge to them, and the timing and what you focus on. They're just a lot of fun.
If you had to guess how many pictures you're taking in a game like tonight average, what's your guess?
Usually between 400 and 500, and then I try and trim it down to about 100.
So you have to go through and edit them all. That takes a huge amount of time. And so if people want to see your pictures, how can they go about finding them? What do you do with them after you trim them down?
I download them onto my Facebook page under the heading of SFHS Flash, and they're there for anybody that wants to look at them.
Great. Yeah, and I really would recommend it because I know the parents, the dancers, volleyball, basketball, they love it, and it's huge. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Before you go, we want a prediction. Spanish Fork's trailing by a touchdown going to the second half of homecoming. What's your prediction for a final score?
We're going to come back and beat them by a touchdown.
By 7 points, a good game, just like we won last week.
That's right.
Okay, Brad, thank you very much for joining us. And we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll close out the half and be ready for a kickoff of the second half, and we'll be right back.
Better call ChemDry.
If you have pets, you need PERT, ChemDry's revolutionary pet urine odor and stain remover. ChemDry's innovative pet urine removal treatment eliminates pet urine and other odors at their source. Your pets can stay while their odors go away.
Voted 2014 Best Automotive Repair in Utah Valley Magazine, Dickerson Automotive.
I think the whatchamacallit on my car isn't working.
Not to worry. We're experts at fixing whatchamacallits.
Call for our specials or visit our website.
At Dickerson Automotive, we're committed to the finest repairs with personal care.
I trust Dickerson Automotive, and you can too.
Dickerson Automotive, way north on Main in Spanish Fork. Life, Medicare, and health insurance can certainly be a confusing mess. At the Health Insurance Center, we will help you understand your options and provide for you the highest quality plans available, along with some of the lowest rates in the state. We want to create long-lasting relationships, so you will always know the best options for your changing health care needs. Contact John at 801-400-6473 or visit our website for more information.
Here at Painter Motor, we have a variety of used vehicles, from name brands such as Dodge, Buick, Ford, Kia, Hyundai, and Chevrolet. You'll find incredible deals, such as a 2013 Chrysler Town & Country for $18,995, the 2013 Chevrolet Impala LTZ, $14,995. We're the Painter Motor family, and we're here to get you on the road in the vehicle of your choice. No pressure, no hassle. Painter Motor.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork. You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today.
Hi, we're back here at the halftime festivities of homecoming at Spanish Fork High School. Spanish Fork trailing Springville 14-7, and it looks like a typical homecoming. We've got queens, we've got kings, we got them out, the homecoming queen out on the field right now, and the king. And while we were away at break, the people at home were lucky. They missed the guys' drill team, the Los Enchiladas, right?
Yeah, they did. Definitely lucked out by missing that. So.
It's a tradition here. I think you were big in that, weren't you?
Definitely not. Nope. You wouldn't have caught me dead out there.
It kind of scared me last year. An hour and a half after the game, I go downtown, I see a couple of the guys still in their tutus, and I'm thinking, these guys are loving this a little too much. But it's a lot of fun. It's tradition here. There's a lot of enthusiasm with the student body, the band. It's better than when you were here. Those guys are growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I said before, the atmosphere tonight is awesome. Can't beat it.
It makes it feel like big time. We got drones flying over. We got fireworks going on. It's a lot of fun. The fans. There's no room to sit for people. It's a lot of fun. So let's real quick go back to the game. So Springville, you got to just call it a sloppy game with multiple penalties that stopped drives, and then it became a punt fest. You're Willie Childs, and he's got a temper, and he goes into halftime. What do you think he's telling the Red Devils?
I think he's telling them to clean it up offensively. They got to fix those problems on the offensive line, and I think he's happy about the late score right there to give him the lead. But the penalties, I'm sure he's all over them with that, and he's getting them pumped up for this second half and get them fired up, I'm sure.
Right. Spanish Fork will kick off to Springville, so that'll be a big series right there. Spanish Fork can get 3 now, get the ball back, and make something happen there in business. So, we're just a couple minutes away from kickoff. Real quick, I need a prediction on the second half final score.
I'm like Brad Stone there. I'm saying Spanish comes back and they win this game by a touchdown.
So it's going to be a good game. Stay tuned to Spanish Fork 17 to watch the conclusion of this game. We're ready for kickoff. Thanks for joining us at halftime. I'm Ken Money. He's J.S. Sprinkerhoff. We'll turn it back to the guys up in the booth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ken and Jace, for that. And now we get ready to go here for the second half. And I think they summed it up really well. If you're Willie Child coming into the halftime locker room, you can't be happy because a lot of the mistakes you're making and a lot of the possessions that you've had, you've killed yourself because you line up in the wrong side of the field or you jump too early. A lot of it's the little things right now, and the little things are what's going to win or lose a football game.
Right, and they had the ball at the 35-yard line. I believe they had a couple offsides, and then they go 4 and out. Essentially, they went for it on 4th down because they got a little bit closer. But that's just been the theme. Is Springville's just been killing themselves. Spanish Fork's played a little bit cleaner, but they had that deep pass and they weren't able to finish that drive. And so Spanish has some of their red zone issues they need to clean up as well. But all in all, it's if you're Spanish Fork, I think you got to be happy you've been able to stop the run for the most part. And you've been able to throw the ball on this Springville defense, which I was a little concerned about coming into this ball game.
And that's the thing. You take out the Devin Tate 75-yard sprint to the end zone, and, really, you take a look at this game. They have done a great job collapsing on the running game, and they've put Jansen Thorpe in some uncomfortable situations throwing down there. Yeah, he's had a couple of receivers go make just excellent plays. For the most part, though, they've really taken the Springville offense out of their comfort zone and really forced them to go down the field and throw it. Exactly, and you want Springville to throw the ball. At some point, Argyle or Funa or somebody's going to come up with a big play. There happens to be 4 guys in this that play linebacker and safety with those last names, but this defense is going to come up at some point and make a big play. Yeah, and that's just the thing. Mace Funa, if he gets his hand on the ball, and they've done a great job of just falling back into the passing lanes, and then once that ball comes throughout the year, Mace Funa just steps in front of it, and it's a foot race, and with the speed that Mace Funa has for a freshman, you're going to have a hard time catching him. Yeah, he gets a step on you. Nobody's caught him so far this season. I don't know if Springville showed some great speed. They might be a little faster than Spanish Fork, but, at the same point, if you get him a step, I don't know if they'll catch him. The interesting part, too, you look at that Spanish Fork offense in the first half, and you get a first drive, and we've talked about it throughout the season. I don't mean to pick on this because I've mentioned it a few times throughout the year. You see a drive like we had opening drive. Let's just go right down the field. Let's get in the end zone. Let's score. It's 7-0 Spanish Fork. And then you see these next couple of drives where the Dons come out and have a hard time moving the ball, have a hard time being able to really put points on the board. This offense looks really well at times, and then it looks just really stagnant at the other times. Yeah, they've been, I think the word is inconsistent this season, and that was one of our keys of the game, was that they needed to be consistent on offense, and that's been something that at times tonight I'd say they've been pretty inconsistent. They started out the game very well as they came out on fire. Nate Kiesel was firing on all cylinders here, and we'll see here on the replay that he finds Jackson Higginson for a 36-yard catch, and that started the game out with 9:56, and Spanish Fork takes the lead. And you talk about the momentum. Chris, we're right above the students here. But you talk about the momentum that was here in the stadium all of a sudden as we get ready to welcome the Spanish Fork Dons back onto the field for the second half. There was a lot of momentum in here. It's homecoming, everybody's excited. And Chris, you've been there before. I remember what it was like in high school. You're gearing up. Homecoming week is all exciting. Kind of the football game is kind of the big event. You do not want to lose your homecoming game. You do not want to lose it, and a lot of teams schedule a patsy, but Spanish Fork played 3 out of their first 4 games on the road, and you can't have the opening week of school. You can't have homecoming, so I don't know what other options they had other than scheduled against either Springville or Alta. So it's a very tough game. When I was in high school, we played Payson a lot for homecoming, but
That was just to get that win.
As Spanish Fork runs through the banner here, they're definitely going to be, there's definitely a lot of pep, has kind of a lot of excitement in the Spanish Fork Dons as they take the field.
Yeah, they're excited, they're pumped up. We'll see if they can play some clean football and use that energy to get back in this ball game. We've got 2 predictions down there of them coming back and winning by a touchdown, so it's a lot of pressure to live up to down there.
A couple of halftime scores to pass along throughout Region 8. At the half, Salem Hills is over taking on Uinta on the road. And we saw Salem Hills last week, and we've heard, of course, a lot about Uinta and things like that. And Uinta has the lead by 3 at the half against Salem Hills.
That's kind of a shocker. I thought Uinta and Payson would be fighting for last place in region, but Uinta absolutely dominated Payson 40-21 last weekend, and they're 1-0 in region. So they possibly could make a push to win region as well. As I mean, they really struggled in the preseason as they went 0-3 and gave up a lot of points at times.
And that's the interesting thing about it. You get Uinta, kind of an unknown. You get Uinta. Payson's a little bit more of a known here in Region 8, but all of a sudden you throw Uinta in, and you got all of a sudden get used to seeing everybody else. It's going to be very interesting to see just how everything plays out.
Well, and the good news for Spanish Fork is Uinta takes the 2.5-hour bus ride here to play, of course, Maple Mountain, our other team we cover here on the Spanish Fork Community Network, and our announcers and some of our crew. They get that lovely drive out to Vernal.
You know, when they announced that last year, I was talking to Jerry about it at a basketball game, and I said to Jerry, I looked over, I said, well, I hope you have fun, and maybe you won't have to do that 2.5-hour bus ride. He looks over at me and goes, nope, it's already scheduled, Ryan. We're going to Uinta. And I'm like, oh. But, you know, it's one of those things when you take a look at it, though, that's a long drive for, you know, when I was in high school, we played schools 3 hours away. So in our region, we had to go, you know, oftentimes 3.5 hours to Southern Oregon. And it was a lot, especially when you got, you know, late into that season. But the other halftime scores, we talked about Maple Mountain. Let's take a look at them. Rumor has it, this is kind of unofficial, they've had 2 touchdowns get called back due to penalties. Tanner Dayton, we saw him all last year. He has a great, strong leg. Right now, Tanner Dayton's leg carrying the Golden Eagles to a 9-6 lead on the road against Tooele. That one, of course, on Tooele's homecoming night as well.
And we'll have highlights for you later on the Spanish Fork Community Network of that game. We sent a camera up there. We're not broadcasting it live like we normally do on Channel 16 just due to the distance and it being a non-region game. However, we will have the Uinta game, so that, you know.
So I guess we make up for it. You
right.
Kind of find somewhere in the middle. But definitely, we're getting closer to the second half. And one point that I really love that Ken and Jace pointed out, because with the way that first half ended, Springville gets the ball to open the third quarter. That's going to completely change, I think, the momentum of this ball game.
Yeah, if Springville goes down, is able to flip the field, I could really put them in the driver's seat. But if what they predicted would happen would be a 3-and-out, Spanish Fork possibly could get good field position and have the opportunity to tie this thing back up. I think they're spot on. This is a critical drive for both teams.
James Daw, number 85, will put a foot into it at the 40-yard line. Bryce Nelson back deep, and the kick's going to go short. Fair catch is called for at the 26-yard line, and then running with it. Taking a pretty big shot there at the end. I don't think that Peyton Kelapolo really wanted to take that. I think he threw the hand up and then all of a sudden realized, wait, they're not blowing this whistle dead. I better run.
Yeah, Kelly Polo clearly signaled for the fair catch. The ref didn't see it. Jordan Smith wanted a penalty down there, as he said he called for a fair catch, but if the refs don't award it, I think Kelly Polo did the heads-up thing and ran.
Yeah, that's definitely something here. It's going to be an interesting possession here, and this starts it off. You're going to get I formation, and this is where the Springville offense really does become dangerous, because they have an opportunity here. If they can drive the length of the field, they're just going to be able to eat that clock up.
And they got 2 tights in as well.
Right up the middle, here's Bryce Nelson on the carry. He's going to be met and maybe gets a half a yard depending on the spot of the ball, as Landon Jensen, it looks like, getting in there with most of the defensive line.
Yeah, and Harmon was down there as well, plugging up the middle. They did a great job in making sure there was no running room. And that's, you know, I've been very impressed with Spanish Fork's line. Harmon, Trujillo, some of those big boys down there have done a great job, and they were getting blown off against Salem Hills, so great coaching adjustments this week by Jordan Smith.
Of course, next week, Spanish Fork heads to crosstown rival Maple Mountain. Springville barely getting the playoff. Jansen Thorpe on the keeper, gets across the 40, breaks the tackle, and he's going to be brought down in Spanish Fork territory at the 49. Jess Barkley getting back there to rip him down, and he just throws him to the turf, but that's a first down for Springville.
And that's exactly what this offense needed to get going, was a big pickup that time. It seemed like they've kind of been, Springville's just been lining up off sides. We'll see if that continues to be an issue. But if you're Spanish Fork, I'd be a little worried if they get this run game rolling here in the third quarter.
1st and 10, ball on the 49-yard line. I formation, deep back set. As here's the pitch, goes outside to Bryce Nelson. Nelson trying to get around Barkley, gets the corner. He's going to get tripped up, hit in the secondary, a big hit, and a flag comes in. One of the offensive linemen for Springville just popping one of the Spanish Fork players, and they thought might maybe come down as unnecessary roughness.
I think it was a wide receiver, Snyder, that had the late hit that time, and that's another critical Springville penalty. So
that's going to be a Springville personal foul penalty there, and that's just one of those things. Again, maybe that's more of a penalty for Coach Willie Child, and you look at, obviously you never want those kind of penalties,
right,
but you look at that and you're like, okay, that's a little somebody just getting a little too excited compared to lining up outside.
Snyder that time just went a little too late on the hit that time. The whistle must have been blown. So that's huge. That's a 15-yarder.
And so now that's going to move the ball all the way back to the Spanish Fork 39-yard line and set you up in this 1st down and 20. I formation set. Tate, the fullback, in there. Nelson once again, the deep back. Here's the give right up the middle to Tate. Tate's going to get into the second level, and he's going to pick up around 8 on the carry, and that's going to bring up about 2nd and about 13 coming up.
And Tate plays fullback, and sometimes when you think of a fullback, you don't think big play ability, but Tate has it as he ripped off a 75-yard run here to open up the scoring for Springville tonight.
And he didn't really run that like a fullback. He ran that like a running back, and he just took it to the house.
He's a big, strong horse with some speed.
2nd and 14 coming up, ball on the 47-yard line of Springville. Once again, I formation. Here's the give up the middle to Tate. Tate's going to get a lot here on the 2nd down carry. He's going to come up about 5 yards short of the 1st down. Gets into Spanish Fork territory to the 45-yard line, and this is where you really have to be careful, because already on this opening drive, already at 9:30, and that clock's ticking, Spanish Fork's defense is going to have to make a couple of stops here in the second half for their offense to have a shot.
And it's 3rd and 5. You can start making those big stops now if you're Spanish Fork. Maybe force Springville to think about punting, but you've got to get up on Tate early. They're allowing him to get a full head of speed. Spanish Fork's defensive line needs to do a little bit better job of getting pressure.
2 receivers, a flag comes in. We'll see who this goes against, and I believe they're going to get Spanish Fork.
And that might give Springville a 1st down here.
It's going to be pretty close. We'll see whether they mark it off here. I haven't seen them officially mark it a 1st down, but we'll see here. I think they're going to say it's 3rd and about half a yard. Ball sits on the 40. Springville needing a 39 to move the chains. Clock begins to run here.
I look for a quarterback keep.
Thorpe right up the middle. He's going to get the 1st down to the 35-yard line. Getting in there on the tackle was number 73. And that's Tanner Parker getting there, 6'5" defensive tackle, just there to bring him down.
And Springville loves running that. Hey, we're not even going to. The quarterback that time didn't even say anything. I could tell right away that it was going to be a quarterback keeper.
You could just kind of tell with that back foot lined up.
I've seen that enough times because I went to Springville, and he just went up and touched the center and went with it.
1st down and 10, and here's the pitch outside. Get into the corner. It's Nelson, and that one's going to get outside. Looks like I thought a flag came in, but apparently not.
There's a flag.
Okay.
I have no idea what it is.
I was going to say, I saw a bright yellow object, and
it was so far out of the play. I'm curious to see what it is.
Looks like it came from the back judge there, back in the secondary, and holding indicated against Springville.
Go ahead.
And that's going to bring that penalty back.
That must have been a hold on a wide receiver on the outside, because that was thrown clear by the back judge.
And this is a big opportunity here because you talk about if you're Springville, if you can keep running the ball, I mean, if you can get 5 or 6 yards to carry, it's going to put you in a big opportunity. But if Spanish Fork can get a stop in these second and third down situations, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Red Devils.
Man, Spanish Fork just needs to be within a touchdown at the end of this game because they have big play ability downfield with Kiesel's arm.
1st and 17. Thorpe, 3-step drop. He's going to throw. That one's going to be in and out of the hands of Bryce Nelson. Nelson frustrated there as he quickly claps his hands together a couple of times. You can tell he's frustrated. That one just went right through his hands.
Yeah, and what an asset to have in your backfield. Nelson, not only can he run the ball well, but he can come out of the backfield and run nice routes that time. Just a little overthrown. He was wide open. Spanish Fork lost him in their coverage.
2nd down and 17 coming up. 8:13 to go, third quarter. Thanks for joining us. Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst here at Spanish Fork High School. The Dons at home here on homecoming, trailing by 7 to Springville. 3 wide receivers. Thorpe, 3-step drop, pump fakes, rolls out, looks down the field, got a man complete, breaking a tackle, is still going. That looks to be number 26 on the play.
That's Clayton Snyder spinning his way to a first down that time, or near a first down. Didn't quite get it.
Apui coming up to give him the kind of lowers his shoulder and makes that tackle, but that's going to bring up 3rd and about 4 coming up.
And
about 2.5, maybe 3.
We haven't called Apui's name much tonight, and he's one of the leading tacklers. So it's good to see him getting involved here.
3rd and 2. Thorpe again on the keeper, and I think he's going to have enough, and he will. That will be a first down for Springville.
And they're automatic for getting 3 yards on those keepers. They might want to just run that on first down one of these times and see if he can't sneak out.
Red Devils moving the chains here once again. And the winner of this one really does have a lot of control in Region 8 because you think of it for Springville, the top 2 teams that people projected would compete with them, Maple Mountain and Spanish Fork, their schedule's done. They've already played those 2.
Right, exactly.
1st and 10. Here's the give up the middle. That looks like it's Bennett Hollinger on the carry. And Hollinger is going to get about 5 on the play.
Springville's very methodical. Some might say boring with this I formation, but they just want to get a few yards on first down, and they got 5 that time. That's a win for this offense.
And you can just kind of look. You see a lot of guys for Spanish Fork, hands are going on their hips. This is exactly what this offense does. They want to wear you out. This is that kind of Stanford, Michigan State style offense that doesn't have a ton of big plays, but just kind of slowly wears you out over time.
And they've already taken 5.5 minutes of the quarter.
Nelson on the carry. He's going to be pretty close to a first down. He's going to get to about the 13, and that's enough, I believe, and it is. First down, Springville.
And the other thing is if you come down and score, if you're Springville, you've taken half a quarter away on this drive. That is huge when you're up by 2 scores. Now, if you're Spanish Fork, you got to make a play. You've let them drive too far. It's time to bend but not break.
First and 10. Ball will be on the Spanish Fork 13-yard line. 2 receivers, 1 split to the top of your screen, 1 to the bottom. I formation once again. Thorpe looks like he might keep it. No, he's going to pitch it outside to Nelson. Nelson trying to turn the corner at the 10. He's going to be down to about the 5-yard line. And that's, again, going to be pretty close. It looks like officially the 4. He's going to be, that's a 9-yard carry on first down. Brings up a 2nd and 1.
Yeah, 2nd and 1 inside the 5's big here for Springville. They got plenty of options, and Spanish Fork has just not been up to the test here on stopping him. It's first down.
And that's, I mean, this is just huge for a number of different reasons. Hey, if you can put some distance here, Springville Lake getting their final man on the field. And you got to think power football's coming. Multiple backs. It's Thorpe on the keeper, and
it's going to be about a yard short, but they got half of what they needed at least.
Right there, they brought in Adam Rodriguez into the tight end spot. And that was going to be 2nd and goal.
Oh, we got a penalty.
And if you're Spanish Fork, if this is against Springville, that's going to be a lot of help. Springville instantly pointing Spanish Fork's way. And we'll see here. We're waiting for the official call.
That was way late.
Ineligible receiver, Springville. And that's an interesting situation because I believe when they go like this, that means an ineligible receiver. And it was just interesting to me because...
Oh, he's got 2 hands on the head. Illegal substitution. So they had 11 guys in the huddle. They broke with probably 12 guys in the huddle.
Is that a 10-yard penalty?
It must be in high school.
I thought for sure that was a 5, but I'm sure the officials know the high school rule book a little more solid than I do.
I wonder sometimes.
So now it's going to...
I've seen some interesting penalty yardage during this season.
2nd down and goal coming up from the 17. So some breathing room here if you're the Spanish Fork defense to try to see if you can't come up with a stop. Looks like the Dons are loading the box here with the linebackers coming in. Apui cheating up from his safety's position. I formation, here's the give. Here's Tate up the middle, makes a man miss, and he's going to be still on his feet as he gets to about the 9-yard line. So another good 8-yard carry on this 2nd down because it'll bring up a 3rd and goal from the 9.
3rd and goal from the 9, but that too many men in the huddle penalties might come back to haunt him here. But wow, what running by Tate. He does not go down easy, as you can see on the Car Guys instant replay.
So now the question starts to become, if you're Willie Child, is do you go for it here? Are you in 2-down territory here if you're Springville? Or do you trust your kicker and take 3?
If his kicking is, I haven't seen him kick more than the one that went straight in the air. I think you're probably in 4-down territory.
3-step drop. Thorpe throwing the fade route, looking, and that one is going to be incomplete. Intended there for number 6. That was Adam Rodriguez, the big tight end. They tried to throw that fade route and just put it a little bit out of bounds.
And that was very close. I wonder if we can see it here on the Car Guys instant replay, but that was about as close as you can get, at least from up here in the booth. It looked close.
There's a great ball by Thorpe. The only spot he could put it was right where he did. We'll try to slow this down. And
well, he looked like his foot might have been on the line. We couldn't really tell from that replay, but it was awfully close.
So now here it is. 4th and goal. Springville's going to go for it. I back set. 3-step drop on the slant. The pass is complete, but the Dons deny him at the 2-yard line.
Great catch that time by Reimer, but he is met by a host of Spanish Fork Dons, and that is a huge stop as they change possessions here. But Springville took 75% of that clock.
3:57 to go, and yes, if you're just joining us, that was the first possession of the 2nd half. I mean, they had about an 8.5, somewhere around like an 8-minute possession to open up the quarter, and that's the dangerous thing about that run game is now that puts a lot of pressure here on Nate Kiesel. If he doesn't get it in the end zone, then who knows how much time you're going to have with the ball when we start the 4th quarter.
We might see a quarterback sneak by Kiesel this time.
3-step drop, back to throw, now being pressured. He's very close to that inline, just going to take a shot deep. Throws it up there, got him in and out of the hands. Jordan Pendleton turning for it, but just couldn't quite come up for it. And it's going to go incomplete.
And you got to be worried about a hold in the end zone at most levels of football. That's a safety. So the offensive lineman got to be careful there. But Springville's going to bring a lot of pressure. I think that was a good call. Spanish Fork's run game this season has really struggled. That's something that they need to work on. I don't know if right now is the ideal time to work on it, though.
They had a favorable matchup there. Isaac Pendleton up against Bennett Hollinger, and right there, a good job by Pendleton to try to go up, and the ball just couldn't quite find his hands. But, Chris, really do look at it with how good of a runner Nate Kiesel is. You have to kind of wonder if maybe a read option play or maybe a quarterback keeper here. You haven't ran many of them tonight, but now might not be a bad time. 2nd and 5 coming from the 8-yard line. And a penalty marker comes flying in early. And it looks like offsides against Springville. And so that's going to probably give Spanish Fork an automatic 1st down. And you can tell there has to be some frustration for Springville. I mean, we talked about at one point like 9 penalties at some point in the 1st half against Springville.
Well, Coach Willie Childs is going to wake up at 2 a.m. and he's going to see that referee doing that offside signal from the backside.
3-step drop, going to throw it out there high for Isaac Pendleton, but he brings it in at about the 18-yard line, so a 5-yard completion, and that's going to bring up a 2nd and about 5 coming up.
But, you know, that's a great little hitch pattern ran by Spanish Fork. They've been able to do that multiple times, and you get 5-7 yards on first down, and you don't make any mental mistakes after that. That's a win, in my opinion.
5 yards, 2nd and 10. 2nd and 5, ball on the 19-yard line. Clock running, 3:14 to go as the Dons break the huddle with 10 on the play clock. 3 wide receivers. Watch for Jackson Higginson. He had the touchdown in the first half. I believe he's to the very top of your screen at home. Shotgun set. Here's the give right up the middle and getting maybe back to the line of scrimmage. I believe that was Heredia on the carry.
That was it was Sam Heredia that time with the carry. And that's just been the Achilles heel of this offense, is they really haven't had much balance. They just cannot run the ball on people, and you know, I think that's something that they need to work on. And maybe when they have a couple of these opponents where they get ahead, they can really focus on running that ball so that they can have balance as, you know, they try and make a run for the state championship.
3rd and 4, flags fly immediately. Springville points against Spanish Fork, and we are going to get here. Waiting for the official call.
We have a gold key in the press box. A gold key has been turned into the
As we hear an announcement here for a gold key been turned into the press box. This is going to go against Spanish Fork. So now, instead of a 3rd and 4, it's going to be 3rd and 9. And those are the penalties that you don't like. When it's a very manageable 3rd down, all of a sudden now becomes a 3rd and 9, and now definitely a passing situation for the Dons.
Right. It takes it from maybe a short pass play to your tight end, and you got to go a little more intermediate here. But if I was Spanish Fork, I would look for Braden Christensen a little more here in the second half. He had an amazing first half, and we haven't seen too much from the tight end this season.
3rd and 8. Kiesel drops back to throw, looking for Pendleton. He's got it. Makes a man almost miss. Bryce Larson, a great tackle. It should be enough, though, for a first down out across the 26-yard line. And that's going to be a first down for the Dons.
Yeah, and I think Spanish Fork is just setting up that big play. I mean, Springville's secondary is really creeping up, which allows for some of those shorter passes where they've got to get back to cover that deep threat.
So first down and 10, 1:55 to go, 3rd quarter. Right now, Spanish Fork driving. 3 wide receivers. Isaac Pendleton to the bottom of your screen, matched up against Bryce Nelson. Back to throw. Kiesel has some time. Steps up in the pocket. He's looking deep for Pendleton, who's got to step on Nelson. It's in and out of the hands of Isaac Pendleton, and that's going to be one. If you're Isaac Pendleton, you have a touchdown there that you just dropped.
Yeah, and that is huge. I don't know if he just got a little too excited or he lost it in the lights. Sometimes these lights at some of these games, it's hard to see the ball, but I'm not sure what happened. I thought we had 7 there.
Great
6.
I mean, there's what it comes down to. Kiesel has plenty of time. There's a couple of receivers who had steps there. The receiver coming kind of down the middle of the seam there was open as well. So 2nd down and 10, not a bad idea. Take a shot deep on first down. 3 receivers, and here's Kiesel. Quarterback draw. We haven't seen this so far tonight. And Kiesel gets maybe 2 yards on the carry, and that brings up a 2nd and 8.
And
3rd and 8.
Adam Rodriguez meets him that time, the stud defensive lineman for Springville. But yeah, it's very hard to call plays when you're very limited in the run game, and I think that's might be the difference in tonight's ball game.
Minute 7 to go, 3rd quarter. A very quick 3rd quarter here for Spanish Fork High School. It's a 7-point ball game. Don's trying to tie it. Kiesel being pressured immediately, rolls out, flag comes in as the ball is just kind of thrown into the dirt. And I'm assuming by where that flag came in, it's going to be a hold against Spanish Fork.
Yeah, there's no question that was a hold. The question is, do they want to call it on the guard or the center? Because both guys got a hold of somebody coming by them. But what do you do? This Springville rush has been ferocious tonight. Those guys are fast. Rodriguez and a couple of those other guys down there. Daxton Polson.
And Springville declines the penalty, making it 4th down, and with 55 seconds to go. Is this a situation where you might see maybe Wade Stanton, if he has a room to run, maybe takes off?
Maybe. I mean, if Springville gets the ball, who's to say how much time Spanish Fork will have?
Spanish Fork late getting the final man on the field. Duncan Williams running in, number 32. Way Stanton standing back at his own 15-yard line. Here's a pretty good snap. Here's the run out and the line drive kick. Takes a bounce at the 45 and rolls. Takes a spring, kind of a neutral bounce both ways. And it's down at the 39-yard line where Springville takes over with 46 seconds to go here in the third quarter. And, you know, Chris, this is a very big situation because, like you said, another 8-minute drive here, and you're getting the ball back with about 7 minutes in the fourth quarter, potentially down 2 scores.
Yeah, and they've got to be getting tired on that defense. They've been on the field most of the night, especially here in the third quarter. As we mentioned, Springville had that 8-minute drive, but I think that the key will be just to get off the field early here.
First down at 10, ball on the 39-yard line. From the shotgun, Jansen Thorpe. 3 wide receivers on the play. Thorpe going to give it right up the middle, or he's going to keep it at the 40 to the 45. He's going to get kind of tripped up as he gets near the marker, and that's going to be a first down to the 50-yard line. An 11-yard pickup for Jansen Thorpe, and that's a first down, Red Devils.
And Bryce Larson that time just, made a big tackle there, or that play might have went for even further. I don't think he would have scored, but yeah, he had me faked out as well. I didn't realize that he didn't hand that ball off.
24 seconds to go in the quarter as we wind down the third here. 14-7 lead for Springville. I formation set. Larson once again the deep back. He's going to get the call right up the middle and immediately getting there from behind. I believe that was Mace Kuna getting from the other side.
Yeah, also Landon Jensen was in there to get the tackle as well, as they both met at the running back that time.
And that's going to end the third quarter here at Spanish Fork High School. At the end of 3, it's the visiting Springville Red Devils 14, the Spanish Fork Dons 7. We'll see if the Dons have a comeback in them. We'll see it after the break here on Spanish Fork Community Network.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
MVP.
For another 150 yards.
Start of the fourth quarter here on the Spanish Fork Community Network. It's the Spanish Fork Dons 7, the Springville Red Devils 14. We want to thank our sponsors for help making this broadcast possible. The Car Guys for sponsoring the Car Guys Instant Replay. Lance Wilson from State Farm Insurance for sponsoring the assist of the game. MVP Sports for the MVP of the game, which will be named at the conclusion of our broadcast. 2 Jack's Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and of course our friends here at the Spanish Fork Community Network. As we get set to start the fourth quarter, 12 minutes on the clock, and Springville driving once again, sitting right at midfield as streamers begin to fly from the student section here. They're trying to get everybody excited here in these final 12 minutes.
Springville's student body is jumping up and down like crazy over there as well. Great atmosphere tonight.
I went there for the basketball games in the wintertime, and their student section on the opening tip-offs just jumps, and that whole place is shaking. Not going to lie, it was pretty cool. 2nd and 10. Here's the give on the carry, and that's Nelson, who's tripped up by Salofa Funa, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10. And this is a situation where Springville really hasn't liked to have been in, and are these 3rd and longs.
3rd and longs. They've been running the ball well, but Spanish Fork's defense has really stepped up on these last 2 plays and put them in a 3rd and long. And if you're Spanish Fork, I think I'm still expecting a run here. I don't see Springville going away from it.
3rd down and 10. The Red Devils need the 40-yard line to convert. Thorpe here will be under center. Devin Tate, the lone fullback. 5-step drop. Back to throw over the middle, high, and in and out of the hands. Coming over the middle was Apui, who almost had a shot at it. It was Bryce Larson running one-on-one there with Bennett Hollinger, and that brings up 4th down, and Springville's going to have to punt.
Yeah, great defense that time as they just drop back in a zone coverage, and Imuapu, oh, sorry, that was Bryce Larson, made sure that the receiver did not catch that ball, and great stop by the Dons as they only gave up 1 first down.
Wade Stanton and Tanner Argyle standing back at their own 15-yard line. Here comes the Springville punt. It's high. It's going to be a short kick. Calling for the fair catch and now getting away from it. And it was Tanner Argyle. Probably not a bad idea as he was looking straight up into the lights. And that one will roll dead down at around the 24-yard line. And that's not bad field position, but this is a big position for the Dons. They have to go down the field. And
did you see Mace Funa that time just blow his blocker down on his? He kind of was like a pancake block that time. I guess we could call that an assist, a Lance Wilson State Farm assist as he assisted him to the ground. I was impressed. I've been impressed with Mace Funa this whole season.
First down and 10, ball in the 23. 3 wide receivers for Kiesel. Rodriguez getting right through. Kiesel steps away, now being pressured, throws it out there for Braden Christensen, but kind of throws an inaccurate throw. He got hit by a couple of Red Devils right as he got rid of that football.
Yeah, and one of the problems without having a run game is Springville can blitz every down, and they don't have to worry about a run. Maybe once in a while Spanish Fork should throw a draw in there to see if they can't counter that. But I feel bad for Kiesel. He's taken a beating in a lot of ball games I've seen this year.
Wasn't a bad throw there from Nate Kiesel, really, when you take a look at how he had to throw that and get it out quick. Not a bad throw, just not exactly accurate. 2nd and 10, Red Devils look like they're coming. Pressure comes, Kiesel gets away. Having a look down the field, he throws it up deep, and getting there, Brooks Ringer, but he didn't hold on. That one was just kind of fluttered out there, and Ringer did a nice job of getting there, but it just got hit as he threw.
And that, I didn't see the number. Was that number 21 that broke that up by Springville? That was a great play. If that was 21, that's Scotty Averett.
We've not seen very much from Scott Averett tonight so far. Last year we saw a ton of that Maple Mountain game of him on the offensive side of the ball. Haven't seen much of Scott Averett tonight. 3rd down and 10 coming up here. 10:51 to go, 4th quarter. 7-point ball game here on the Spanish Fork Community Network. Friday night football under the lights. Rolling out, Kiesel pressured, now going to have to step up, looking deep. He's got a man out there, that is Pendleton, and this one goes in his breadbasket, but then he gets hit and the ball goes incomplete.
Very impressive. Kiesel put that ball where he needed to 2 times, and I don't know if they mentioned on the halftime show, it's pretty cold down there, and if maybe your hands turn into cement, maybe that's what happened that play, but they didn't connect again.
And that's been open. We've talked about it all night tonight. Spanish Fork's had an opportunity to get those deep balls and just hasn't worked. They haven't been able to connect here in the second half. Wade Stanton with a good punt. Fair catch is called. That ball, almost bobbled by Bennett Hollinger there as he kind of caught that one up here. And that's not where you want to catch it, Chris. It's up here in the shoulder pad. You want to get that down because right there, Hollinger almost bobbled that return.
Yeah, he was too close to the ball. He needed to take a half a step back to make that catch, but hey, he did a great job of hanging on to that.
And now with 10:41, a lot of pressure, I think, here right now. Given the offense hasn't been able to put a lot of points on the board, the defense has all the pressure on if you're Spanish Fork to get a quick stop.
Yeah, or just survive. You got to keep your team within striking distance. They cannot allow too many points in this game. Their offenses struggle outside that first possession.
I formation, Jansen Thorpe gives it right up the middle. Here's Devin Tate. Tate's going to get about 3 on this one out to around the 45-yard line. And I think he'll take that on first down. And Devin Tate, of course, earlier had a 75-yard touchdown run that gave the Red Devils their first score. That one coming way back in the first quarter.
Yeah, and Harmon and Trujillo down there, they are battling, and that's what's stopping some of these plays from not being big runs. But Springville, on that play that didn't look like it went anywhere, still got 3 yards.
2nd and 7 coming up. Once again, the I formation for Springville. Very traditional. Adam Rodriguez in at tight end. Thorpe's going to roll out play action. He's going to be pressured. Looks high. That ball in and out of the hands. As coming up was Devin Argyle. Has a radar for where that football is so far this year. He went for it, just couldn't quite come up with it, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 7.
You're absolutely right. The other theme I saw Mace Funa dropping back into coverage, and I was like, oh no, is it going to happen again? Are we going to have another pick 6 from Mace Funa? But they did a good job of recognizing where he was at and not going across the middle that time.
Ball sits right now right at the 45-yard line. It's 3rd down and 7. The one thing with that incompletion too, Chris, that stops the clock if you're Springville. 3 seconds on the play clock. Thorpe's going to go play action. Rolls out to the left. He's going to be hit and chased from behind. Salofa Funa got him. Funa came sprinting from the opposite side of the field and just brings him down for the sack. And 4th down, as Springville's probably going to have to look to punt here.
And that's huge, as Spanish Fork's defense has really stepped up here as of late and made some huge plays, as Funa, as we can see on the Car Guys instant replay, does his best impression of a Superman dive and takes down Thorpe that time.
Wade Stanton and Tanner Argyle back deep to receive the punt. This is a low snap. They're going to get it off, and it's a pretty good punt. Going to send Stanton back to about the 18-yard line, where he calls for the fair catch at about the 16-yard line. And now with 9:11 to go in the 4th quarter, this is a big drive for Nate Kiesel. We haven't seen a lot of drives for Spanish Fork where in a sense the game's on the line, and you kind of get that idea even though there's 9 minutes left, that in a sense you don't really know how many more possessions you're going to have.
You're absolutely right. Springville could get the ball and drive it for 9 minutes and score a touchdown. If you're Spanish Fork, though, I wouldn't try and go deep. Those are lower percentage plays. I think you've got Springville worried about that. I might try and go over the middle a little bit and just get your guys some confidence on some short catches.
Noah McCray is the guy just kind of playing center field. Going down the field for Pendleton, throws it behind. Pendleton reaches behind the corner and holds it in at midfield. Bennett Hollinger just blanketed him with coverage there, and Pendleton able to reach back after the last couple of went in and out of his hands there. He makes the play count.
Yeah, I'm kind of in shock he caught that one. That was a very difficult catch, and Kiesel did a great job of just keeping that play alive and throwing on the run. And sometimes I think he throws a lot better on the run, but I wonder if the coaches will look at that film and be like, don't throw that again.
That's got to be a Lance Wilson State Farm assist right there on that throw from Nate Kiesel. He put it in the one spot where his receiver is going to be able to get to it.
Yeah, he did.
Spanish Fork's got to get the playoff. Here's Landon Jensen right up the middle on the carry. He's going to fall ahead and get about 5 here on 1st down. And so really the running back by committee team for Spanish Fork. We've seen Salofa Funa. We've seen Sam Heredia. We've seen Mateen Lomax at times this year. Duncan Williams. Now we're seeing Landon Jensen. We've seen just a handful of guys. Wouldn't surprise me one time if we see Mason Salofa Funa in there together.
Yeah, I think we've seen them in the backfield once. They ended up throwing the ball. But yeah, great job of getting some positive yards on a run.
Jensen the back again. Here's the keeper, and Kiesel's going to get dropped. Number 82 once again getting there. That's Sean Holloway, who's just had a really good game tonight, being able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, Holloway's been all over this field. I'm assuming that's Holloway. On our roster, they have him as 82, but I think he's 92. But either way, that read option play went nowhere because Springville did a good job of containing up the middle, and Kiesel had nowhere to go.
And now that puts in a very long 3rd and 2. Isaac Pendleton to the top of your screen. Jackson Higginson to the bottom of the screen. And pressure comes. Kiesel rolls away, steps up, slips away. He's at the 50, throws at the last minute, and wide open Higginson, touchdown Spanish Fork! Jackson Higginson was all by himself. There are no flags, and the Dons are an extra point away from tying this one up with 7:12 to go.
Man, and Jackson Higginson comes up with a beautiful catch that time. Kind of bobbled a bit. He was wide open. He's Mr. Clutch downfield as he comes up with his 2nd reception for a touchdown tonight, and he's over 100 yards as that's a 52-yard variety. He had a 36-yard touchdown catch easy earlier in the ball game, and we've got ourselves a fantastic rivalry game tonight.
One side of the stadium instantly quieted, the other side with plenty of noise. James Daw on for the extra point. Snap is down, kick is up, and it is good, and we're tied at 14. 7:12 to go in the fourth quarter. We're locked up. Rivalry football. First place in the region on the line, Chris. I don't think you could ask for a better atmosphere for homecoming than is right now here at Spanish Fork.
Yeah, and what a huge win this would be for a homecoming game. As we see this pass, he slips. I thought his knee might have hit the ground there for a second, but on the replay it doesn't look like it. And Jackson Higginson comes up with that catch. Clear downfield. Wow. And that's the thing about the Dons is they have big play capability here in this game, and they made the extra point. And that's something they've really struggled with this early on in the season. It's good to see that they've corrected that the last few weeks.
I'm not gonna lie, I might have held my breath with the earlier during the Orem game last time we were here at Spanish Fork High, when the snaps had a hard time being able to get down for James Daw to put it through. Daw's gonna kick this one short, and it's gonna bounce, and ball is bobbled, but then picked up by Springville. Right there's Bryce Larson, who's gonna go down the sideline, and he's gonna be knocked out of bounds around the 40-yard line. Now that I think of it, yeah, it was Bryce Nelson, number 3. I'm getting Bryce Larson for Spanish Fork and Bryce Nelson for Springville kind of mixed up tonight, so my apologies.
Yeah, Nelson did a good job of, once he finally got the ball, of just going north and south and getting some yards, as I thought they were going to, Spanish Fork had a chance to pick that up, but their coverage team was slow to get down there. Credit Springville for the blocking some, but you got to fight a little harder. We got a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Unsportsmanlike against Springville, so that's going to initially start them, I believe, in a 1st and 25 with 7 minutes to go. So a big help coming here for Spanish Fork with 7 minutes to go, because now the Dons get a stop. Now they have an opportunity here where they're going to have an opportunity to maybe get the ball back to have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, at first you got to stop this rushing attack. I imagine Springville is going to give him a heavy dose of Bryce Nelson on this drive.
Nelson, the deep back. Devin Tate, once again, the fullback here in this I formation set. 2 wide receivers. Ready to go. Here's the pitch outside to Nelson. Nelson's going to try to get outside. He's going to stiff arm, and Jess Barkley wasn't going for the stiff arm and just kind of escorts him out of bounds at around the 30-yard line. So a pickup of 8 there on 1st and 10.
Yeah, that's a huge run. It's I imagine we'll see the Bryce Nelson show here until Spanish Fork can stop it, but they have done that. That first drive of the quarter, in the third quarter, they really struggled, but they've done a great job of containing this Springville rushing attack, and it's all started with those big hosses up front on that defensive line.
2nd and 4 coming up here. Once again, the eye back for Springville. Spanish Fork looks like they're coming right up the middle. Here's Devin Tate on the carry, and Tate going to get maybe a yard and a half on second look. And so now it's going to bring up a 3rd and about 2, maybe 2.5.
3rd and 2, if you can get a stop here and possibly get the ball back, Spanish Fork could really get in the driver's seat of this ball game. This is another critical 3rd down, and I imagine Springville's, I'm going to think that maybe they try that quarterback sneak again.
I would think there's a good chance that that's coming. It kind of looks like it. Adam Rodriguez in the game at tight end. They're going to the shotgun look here, so we'll see. Right up the middle, Thorpe keeps it, and he is met in the backfield and dropped for a huge loss, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
And credit Harmon and Trujillo for getting in that backfield early and stopping that play, and that is a huge stop. I thought Springville was going to run away with this ball game the way that 3rd quarter was going, but the defense is really amped up when they needed to, and they'll get the ball back with the chance to take the lead and go 2-0 in region. And this, like you mentioned, Springville's the favorite in region. This could be a huge victory.
Believe that's Adam Rodriguez, number 6, back to punt. He's going to put a foot into it. It's a line drive kick. Wade Stanton calls for the fair catch and makes the catch at the 40-yard line. So Spanish Fork has 5:01 to go in the 4th quarter. They can use all that 5:01 if they want.
Well,
it's a 14 tie, though.
If I'm Coach Jordan Smith, I'm just like, let's just let Kiesel scramble around for a while and just throw it deep. That seems to be their bread and butter, honestly. It's not the prettiest play, but they've done it so many times this season. It's almost like those broken plays end up being the ones that they score on.
Jackson Higginson to the bottom of your screen. He has 2 scores tonight. Shotgun set. Kiesel, 3-step drop. He's now going to go over the middle. He's got a man. That's complete out to the 45-yard line to Isaac Pendleton. So a quick 5-yard gain on first down. And right now, Spanish Fork will bring Salofa Funa in.
And that's what Spanish Fork does instead of running the ball, is they have those little short hitch patterns, because Springville's worried about him going over the top, so that might be open. At the first of this game, Springville's corners were really sneaking up on him, but now you see they're playing 7-8 yards off him.
And it's kind of interesting to see, because Scott Averett, this one of the safeties, is kind of playing more kind of a rover in there as an extra linebacker. Here's Funa. He's going to be brought down by Devin Tate right at the line of scrimmage. That brings up 3rd and 5.
3rd and 5, and another run that's just didn't get started again for Spanish Fork. I'd be curious to look at a chart of Spanish Fork's run plays and see how many actually go for positive yards.
And now 4:02 to go, 4th quarter. We're tied at 14. Landon Jensen, Jackson Higginson back in for the Dons on what is a big 3rd and 5. I mean, the good news is we got whistles blow, timeout, Spanish Fork. So Jordan Smith definitely wants to talk about it here with 3:51 to go. And I don't blame him. You want to make sure here on this 3rd and 5 you have the right play calling.
Yeah, because it's critical you get a first down and keep this drive going. You don't want to give Springville the time in this ball game to get something going and leave yourself with no time, because Springville's still just going to stick with their game plan and run. So I'm kind of curious to see what play call they come out with out of this timeout. I'd imagine they're probably going to try and get something outside the pocket.
A couple of scores to pass along to you. 31-6, Wasatch leading Payson. That one down the road here from us at Spanish Fork down in Payson. And then end of the 3rd, Maple Mountain 16, Tooele 6.
And yeah, I'm kind of, and we'd also like to thank our sponsors here on Channel 17. We got the Car Guys with the instant replay, State Farm, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance with the assists, and MVP Sports with the MVP player of the game, 2 Jacks Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Spanish Fork Community Network for bringing us these awesome broadcasts.
So a big situation coming here. 3rd down. Kiesel back to throw. He's going to scramble. Going to go back to his 30. Gets away. He's looking down the field. Throws it up into double coverage. It's batted down almost into the hands of Jackson Higginson there. But the ball goes incomplete as he threw it down the field looking for Brooks Ringer. Salofa Funa. And that goes incomplete. 4th down. So the ball going to go back to Springville with 3:42 to go.
And credit both defenses here. They've made some big stops in this ball game. We started out with both teams scoring in the first 3 minutes of this ball game, and it sure has been a lot different ever since that. I thought we'd have a shootout the way this game started.
Has gone final. Maple Mountain 23, Tooele 6. Line a kind of rolling punt. Hollinger picks it up back at the 15. Makes a couple of men miss. He's still on his feet. He's going to get loose. Out across the 35. He gets past Way Stanton, but no. Stanton makes what could have been a touchdown saving tackle. Might be a little bit of a stretch. I don't know if he gets away, if he takes that to the house, but now very good field position with 3:28 to go.
Yeah, touchdown saving tackle we'll see here on the instant replay by Way Stanton, but wow, I thought great effort by Hollinger to get upfield and out of some of those tackles. Yeah, it was an ankle grab there that time as he brings him down. What a ball game we've had. It's been a defensive battle, but it sure has had some exciting moments in it.
1st and 10, Red Devils, 3:28 to go, 4th quarter. Jansen Thorpe from shotgun. 3 wide receivers on the play, single back. Thorpe, 3-step drop, throws. That one's going to be complete. That's out to Bryce Nelson right along the sideline for about 5.
Yeah, great coverage that time in that zone as Tanner Argyle came up and made sure he didn't catch it.
I thought it was complete, but apparently it wasn't complete. So a 2nd down and 10, so I apologize for missing that for our viewers at home. Thank you for tuning in on this Friday night here at Spanish Fork High School. Region 8 football. It's Springville and Spanish Fork. 3:20 to go in the 4th quarter. Red Devils and Dons tied at 14. Thorpe back to throw with some time. Throws this one high over towards the sideline. Hollinger looks like the intended receiver there, and he brings this one in for a pickup of about 5, and that sets up 3rd and 5.
And this is another big third down. We've seen both defenses step up the last few possessions on these third downs and get their offense back on the field. So we'll see if Spanish Fork can answer once again.
The ball on the 35-yard line. Dons look like they're going to kind of load the box here. Mace Funa there, pictured on your screen. Looks like he might be coming. Thorpe drops back Funa into coverage. They throw it out, and that's going to be in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Hollinger was once again open. That one hit him right in the hands. It's going to go fourth down, though, and that's going to probably bring in a punting situation. And there's a flag on the play. Personal foul, late hit, roughing the passer against Spanish Fork. That gives Springville an automatic first down.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but man, you've got to. And both teams have really cleaned it up here in the second half. It hasn't been the penalty fest, but that's a big one. We didn't see who ran it into the quarterback late that time.
So we'll try to see here.
Oh, I don't know about that. That was. You get that extra step. That was pretty ticky-tacky.
You know, and I can see it. This game had maybe been a little chippy where there had been some late hits and maybe some personal foul penalties, but this game really hasn't been chippy. And so I don't know. That's close. That's very close. And at the end of the day, it's a Springville first down at the 40-yard line. 3:10 to go. Red Devils in Don territory. Give right up the middle. Here's Tate. Tate's going to get a yard down to about the 39-yard line. Salofa Funa looks like getting in there on the stop.
And the way Springville runs their offense, even if they go 3 and out, Spanish will get the ball with, about a minute to go here. It's just, they just love that ball control, tempo.
Clock will run right here. They're going to go 3 wide receivers, 2 to the top of your screen, 1 to the bottom. Bryce Nelson split out as the receiver to the very top of your screen. Thorpe going to try the quarterback keeper. He is going to be brought down by Salofa Funa back at the 45-yard line.
That's another big defensive play by Salofa Funa. He has been all over Mr. Thorpe tonight.
And now that brings up a huge 3rd and about 9. Sorry, that's going to bring up longer than 3rd and 9. That's going to bring up 3rd and 14.
3rd and 9 plus 5, we'll call it.
There we go. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for the help there.
Yeah. Anytime. Please feel free to slap me.
So 3rd down and 14, ball on the 44-yard line. Springville needs the 30 to move the chains. Thorpe from the shotgun. Steps back to throw with some time. Plenty of it. He looks down the middle. That's in and out of the hands of, I believe that was Bennett Hollinger again, who just couldn't quite come up with it, and it's 4th down and probably a punting situation for Springville.
And there has been a lot of drops tonight, and that was another one. Great pass that time by Jansen Thorpe.
Thorpe had plenty of time on that there. I mean, he had all day. Hollinger gets open. That's a good ball thrown in between 3 Spanish Fork defenders, but ball just couldn't quite come up with it.
Since this valley's known for Hail Marys, how appropriate would it be for this game to end on a Hail Mary tonight?
That BYU-UCLA game, if that goes to a 3rd Hail Mary, I'm going to be very impressed. Rodriguez gets it off. Fair catch is called for, and it's made at the 21-yard line by Way Stanton. And now a minute 43 for the Spanish Fork Dons. They have all 3 of their timeouts. So really, the whole playbook's open if you're Spanish Fork. You just don't want to make a mistake.
You don't want to make a mistake, but you got Kiesel, and that guy, he's got the ability to get outside the pocket and make something happen downfield. And this offense, obviously, as we've seen tonight, their offense has been based off of one theme, and that's big plays. They haven't had any, they've had a few intermediate and short plays, but for the most part, it's been going over the top.
Keep an eye on your bottom of your screen. Bennett Hollinger, the corner, up against Jackson Higginson. Here's Kiesel being pressured. He runs away from it. Now being pressured back at the 10. Almost goes down. Fumbles, and I believe in Springville, they're going to say it looks like it went out of bounds, it looks like here.
Wow.
And that's a huge, huge break for the Spanish Fork Dons. A fumble that Springville gets, and that's would have been a big turnover.
Yeah, great defensive rush by number 92 again. And they brought tons of pressure. But when you bring that many guys, it's really hard to stop them, although Ronan needs to do a better job of pass blocking.
Rodriguez came almost untouched there.
And how do you not account for that guy? Hey, number 6 down there. Somebody block him.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, is he just comes almost, kind of an arena football, how the receivers get a running start. He got a running start there on Kiesel. 2nd and 22. Kiesel steps up. He's going to get away. He's in the end zone, gets rid of it, and if that's grounding in the end zone, that's, I believe, the equivalent of a safety. And here comes the flag, and with a minute 23, if that's going to be grounding in the end zone, that's 2 points for the Red Devils.
And that's exactly what it's going to be, is I believe we're going to have a 16-14 ball game, and the problem is...
And it's a safety for Springville. The Red Devils have the lead.
Yeah, and I was going to say the problem is you got to kick the ball to Springville, and you can't do an onside kick on it after a safety. So you've got 2 timeouts, and is there enough time to even get the ball back?
Yeah, that's the thing you have to understand, especially with this offense. And that's one of those things where if you're Nate Kiesel, sometimes you have to give up on the play and just go down. This is the sort of mistake you didn't want. Remember, this drive started.
And Rodriguez grabbed him, and I wonder if they wouldn't have called that at the 2 because he threw him back into the end zone and your forward momentum. I don't know, but when you're in the end zone and you got the ball, you got to try something.
And a good job there by Adam Rodriguez of making the play happen, but now a lot of pressure reverts back to Spanish Fork with a minute 23, because like you said, now you have to do the punt. Then now you have to find a way very quickly. If you do get the ball back, you're not going to have a lot of time.
Right. You got the 2 timeouts. You absolutely cannot give up a first down. You're going to rely on your defense to win this game. They've came up big so many times tonight. Can they do it one more time?
I'm looking at that clock for the minute 23 and 25-second play clock.
And you got to, pay the refs a little extra to get them to hurry and set that ball, because it's not like college where it's an automatic 40 seconds. It could be shorter, it could be longer, depending on your officials. Of course, I don't think they're really going to pay the officials.
So minute 23, they're going to kick it, it looks like, here from
usually the
20-yard line is what it typically is. Springville's only got 1 guy back at the 40. Everybody else is on the 40-yard line and 30-yard line of Spanish Fork, and it looks like they are going to line up for the onside kick. I didn't think you could do the onside kick, but apparently...
Maybe you can in high school. I know at some levels you cannot.
So it all comes down to this. James Daw puts a foot into it, and whistles blow immediately. Ooh, that got a good bounce, too.
Yeah, on these you want to kick it into the ground so they
Springville.
So they can't call that fair catch. But, yeah, Springville called a timeout at the right time.
That one, got a nice bounce. The player for Springville bobbling that one. But now with a minute 23, this becomes huge. If Springville does recover the onside kick, Chris, and then you have to go play defense, you have to have the idea, I think, here of go in. You're going to have to try to make the tackle and rip. You have to try to get that ball out.
Yeah, you got to. And let's hope, if you're a Spanish Fork fan, that James Daw can do that once again. That was huge.
And so now we'll see here with 1:23 to go, we'll see another onside kick. Again, everybody for Springville, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the 11 guys on the field. On the Spanish Fork side of the field, 5 sitting at the 35-yard line, 5 more sitting at the 45-yard line. Now they'll all move up.
I wonder if you just kind of kick it in one of these areas around the 50 over everybody's head, if you couldn't race down there and get it. That's what I might try. They're going to be ready for that short hop here on the right side.
James Daw to put a foot into it at the 20. Here's the kick. Low liner. It goes off of a Springville player, and Spanish Fork recovers. The Dons have new life with 1:20 to go. It just grazed number 4, Tate Erickson for Springville, and the Dons are right there to recover.
Yeah, great job by Isaac Pendleton running down and grabbing that ball, and great kick by James Daw. That is a hard play to execute, and they did it to perfection that time.
And that's just huge. And that's one of those things, too, if you're Springville, where you have no choice. If you let that go, there's a good chance Spanish Fork recovers it, but you have to do something to try to corral that back into your own guys, I would think.
Yeah, and that ball's been slippery. It's cold. So we'll see what happens. The refs are huddled up, still talking about this play, but I imagine they'll give the ball to Spanish Fork.
And they will officially give in there. So now, you talked about it, Chris, with the big playability tonight of Spanish Fork. 120, you have 2 timeouts. You got plenty of times, but now Nate Kiesel's going to have to shine.
Yeah, they need some Nate Kiesel homecoming magic tonight to get this victory.
1st and 10 Dons, ball on the 32-yard line. Kiesel setting up the screen. He's got Salofa Funa down the sideline. Funa out of bounds
He
around the
didn't
44.
get out of bounds. They're winding the clock still.
He did get a first down, so stop it for enough. But like you said, the clock's going to go once everything gets set. 1:14 to go. And that's got to take some of the air out if you're Springville. You just went from being, hey, we have a good shot at winning this one, to all of a sudden now we're having to fight for it.
They need to bring the play clock up to 25.
And here it is. Yeah, you can tell here. I guess the clock did stop, so I guess they must have
said for the first down. And they wind the clock.
And now there we go. Okay. Funa, the single back. Kiesel drops back to pass with some time. He's got all day. Takes a shot deep. Got him in out there. It's caught by Brent. Incomplete. It went in and out of the hands of Brooks Ringer.
Oh, and that is the 4th or 5th big drop down field tonight. Kiesel is putting the ball exactly where he needs to. His wide receivers need to do their part and come up with some of these big catches. That might be the difference in tonight's ball game if Spanish Fork isn't able to pull this out.
Kiesel stands in there too, takes a shot, and once again, these Spanish Fork wide receivers are beating Springville over the top. They've done it multiple times tonight. I would think in this situation, although the hard part is you don't want to just drop the safeties and prevent, because a field goal here by Spanish Fork could win in the ball game.
You might want to at this point. You might want to just drop your 2 safeties about 30 yards deep. They're blitzing.
Pressure comes. Kiesel steps up. He's got some backside pressure, and he's going down back to the 31, and Spanish Fork's going to have to call a timeout with about 50. I think they called it with about 54, but clock was stopped at about 53.
Yeah, and to reset the situation, they've only got 1 timeout, and it's going to be 3rd and a mile. That's a long way. It's over 20.
And now this is a situation, if you're Springville, where you probably will drop, I don't know if you want to go into a cover 3, but you probably are just going to drop some safeties here. As long as they don't get out of bounds, that clock's going to continue to run.
Yeah, I at least go to cover 3, maybe cover 4, and just drop all 4 of your guys deep, and 2 really deep, but you just need a couple of stops here, and I imagine we'll see Mr. Rodriguez blitzing for Springville. He has been a stellar performer at his defensive line position.
Next week, Spanish Fork heads over to crosstown rival Maple Mountain. 7 o'clock kickoff over at Maple Mountain High School. That one will be right here on Spanish Fork 17. 3rd down and 10. The Dons need the 45-yard line for Springville to move the chains. They don't need all 22 here. We'll see how Coach Jordan Smith wants to play this right here. Springville looks like they're coming. Kiesel steps up, has some time. He's going for it all right here. Looking for Higginson, and that pass is incomplete. 4th down. I don't think you need that there, but maybe that's the open route that you had if you're Nate Kiesel.
Well, it's been open all night, but Springville had a little better coverage than they had on that deep ball, and they were stride for stride with Jackson Higginson that time. And here's the ball game, folks.
And not the situation you want. 4th and 22 with the ball game on the line. Like I said, Spanish Fork needs the Springville 45-yard line. I still don't know if I don't pick here on Bennett Hollinger. Hollinger's kind of isolated by himself. The safeties, Scott Averett's playing more towards the other side. I don't know if I don't look to maybe go to Isaac Pendleton here.
That's a good observation.
4th and 22. Kiesel steps back, has some time, pressured up. He's throwing for Pendleton, who gets the man beat. Flag comes in! And that should be pass interference against Springville, which will at least make it 4th down again, and should make it about a 4th and 7. Once again, they pick on on Bennett Hollinger.
Yeah, and Hollinger that time was out of position. He's arguing that he didn't interfere, but that was clearly interference. And I think that ball was thrown too deep. I think if we would have let him go by.
And we'll see pass interference, offensive pass interference, and that's going to
Oh.
And I mean, hopefully we get a Car Guys instant replay.
Really?
Maybe he pointed the wrong way. I don't know, but now he's getting some clarification. Pass interference on the offense. Penalties decline. First down, Springville. Let's take a look at the Car Guys instant replay. Let's see if we can slow it down. Thank you, Andy, for that. And I guess they're going to say that Pendleton pushed off, but Hollinger just slips.
He stops on that play and gets in the way, and he was completely out of position. Pendleton's making a play on the ball, and Hollinger that time was making a play on the defender, or on the offensive receiver that time, and that's the wrong call.
And now with 38 seconds, Springville's going to take the victory formation, and they're going to have the inside seat right now to the Region A championship as Jansen Thorpe takes the knee. Jordan Smith will use his final timeout here, and the clock was still running. There's about, I want to say 3 seconds, 3, maybe even 4 seconds to come off the clock here. And Springville's going to find a way to escape.
Yeah, Springville will, and Spanish Fork is just heartbroken down there as you see Mace Funa with his hands on his helmet. Yeah, just a huge call that time. I mean, I'd have been fine maybe with a no call because it was way overthrown, but I am shocked that they called that offensive pass interference.
Well, and the hard part, too, if you're Spanish Fork, you just went from having a shot at first place in region to now you're probably, if depending on what happens next week with Maple Mountain, you're potentially third in region.
Right. Well, in Springville, they win tonight 16-14. They beat Maple Mountain 14-13. They win 2 huge ball games by just a 3-point margin. I mean, how clutch are they in these games?
Clock will run. They'll have to take a knee one final time. But this will probably be the final snap of the ball game. Springville is going to move to 5-0, 2-0 in Region 8 play. And if they take care of business the rest of the way, Springville is going to have that inside spot to the Region 8 championship. The Red Devils will celebrate. The Spanish Fork sidelines absolutely stunned here at Spanish Fork High School, here where our final score is the Springville Red Devils 16, the Spanish Fork Dons 14. Let's take a break here on Spanish Fork Community Network. When we come back, we'll wrap it up here with the MVP Sports Player of the Game, or game recap, and everything like that. You're watching high school football here on the Spanish Fork Community Network.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork. You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today. Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has... MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Look at how many momentum shifts this game had for not a lot of scoring. The final about 10 minutes, it went from being everything Springville back to Spanish Fork to Springville back to Spanish Fork to finally ended up with Springville.
Yeah, you hate to see these games where one of these teams has to lose, and unfortunately for Spanish Fork, they lose tonight. But you're right, this game had some very exciting plays, but both defenses were, as the shirts say here, rock solid.
And I mean, that's for sure. And when you take a look at that, I don't really know. I was thinking about it during the break as we see Salofa Funa and Mace Funa come off the field here. I don't really know if there's a turning point of this ball game when you look back for Spanish Fork and you can really pinpoint one moment where Springville just took full control, because really it was back and forth the entire way.
Yeah, I think the only play that Spanish Fork really didn't compete hard in was that second play of the ball game where Devin Tate takes it all the way down there on that 75-yard run. Other than that, they competed on every play. Springville competed hard too. They let a couple of passes get behind him, but Spanish Fork had too many big drops downfield, and that's the real reason they lost.
I mean, you really look at it, and I mean, Spanish Fork left. I'm gonna probably hard. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to say in a sense. They probably left 14 points on the scoreboard from those big plays.
I don't know if they left 14 points, but they probably left about 180 yards and 4 big drops down the field.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's those small things like that for Spanish Fork. And I think the hard part is you kind of look at it. You don't want to look ahead to Maple Mountain next week. But if you're the Spanish Fork Dons, kind of an interesting scenario, because now you're coming off of this heartbreaking loss to Springville. Now you got to get yourself fired up and excited next week to go crosstown rival Maple Mountain, a team that I'm going to say, maybe this is going off on a limb, Chris. Correct me if I'm wrong. This might be maybe the best team in Maple Mountain's history that they have right now, or one of the best.
If it's not the best, it's the second best. I've seen I covered Maple Mountain for Spanish Fork 17 before starting with Spanish Fork this season, and I've seen them play a lot of ball games. And they, one year they won region on a technicality because Timpview was playing too many ineligible players, and they've had a couple of teams that have played home playoff games, meaning they took first or second. So it's one of the best teams Maple Mountain has, but it's definitely Jaron Hall is the best player Maple Mountain's had, and he's going to be quarterbacking that team next week.
And it's going to be, just a kind of a tough loss tonight if you're Spanish Fork, because you had a lot of times that defense came up big right when they needed to. The offense made the plays for the most part, but they just couldn't quite get it done exactly when it needed to.
Right, and that's, it's the small things that make big things happen in life, and they didn't connect on a couple of those. And Springville is 2-0 in region. Spanish is 1-1. And up next for Springville, they play Uwinna. So that could be a battle of undefeateds as well. I'm not sure if we got the final score on that Salem Hills game.
Last time I saw, Salem Hills scored about 23 unanswered. It was like 30-10.
All right.
Something like that. But, Chris, though, it's one of those things you look back if you're Spanish Fork and you look back on this one and you have an opportunity to have a building point in your season where you have this emotional loss. Now you have a chance to take that in. You still have a good shot. Maybe Maple Mountain stumbles, maybe Springville stumbles down the stretch and maybe loses a game here and there. You obviously don't want to have to play on that, but it's definitely a possibility. Some great performances, though, by Spanish Fork. When you check out Jackson Higginson tonight, he made the big 35-yard touchdown pass reception in that first quarter. Then he comes back there standing all alone in the end zone. One of those positions where sometimes receivers get too wide open and they don't haul it in. He hauls in this big game-tying touchdown.
That was a 52-yarder.
It's one of those things. You look at him, he had an MVP-type performance
tonight. He did, and that's why we're going to make him the MVP Sports MVP player of the game. That's Jackson Higginson. Had over 100 yards receiving tonight and those 2 big touchdowns. Congratulations to him for single-handedly keeping them in this ball game. And, of course, he can't do it all on his own. He had Nate Kiesel throwing some of those balls, but he was the one that was able to hold on to those big pass throws downfield.
Unfortunately tonight, Jackson Higginson, a great performance. So fortunately for Spanish Fork, a great performance from Jackson Higginson. Unfortunately, though, the Dons do fall tonight, 16-14 to the Springville Red Devils. You can catch this game and replays of many of our other broadcasts on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SpanishFork17, where you can see any program from live high school sports to many of our other programs throughout the station. Our next broadcast comes next week, 7 o'clock Friday night, 6:30, the pregame show with Ken and Sam, who are going to, I'm sure, paint this great picture for the Maple Mountain Spanish Fork game. An opportunity there, potentially, to have a team right there, another tiebreaker situation for Spanish Fork. A chance they could be in the second place spot at the end of that game with a win over Maple Mountain. But just setting that picture for what's going to be a great ball game. It's Hall versus Kiesel, former Don James Wilson now back on the other side. It's just going to be an exciting atmosphere over at Maple Mountain. It's going to be probably a packed house where it should be a fun game.
Right, and last time they met, we had the little incident with the fumble. So who knows what's going to happen in that game. I've seen Spanish Fork, actually Jason Money throw a touchdown pass at the end of the game to win it at Maple Mountain 2 years ago. So it's going to be an exciting ball game.
So we're looking forward to that one. That will be 7 o'clock next week. And we'd like to thank our sponsors one final time for making this broadcast possible here on Spanish Fork 17. The Car Guys, who brought you all of our Car Guys instant replays tonight. Lance Wilson State Farm for doing this Lance Wilson State Farm assist of the ball game. You heard those and saw those throughout the broadcast. MVP Sports for the MVP of the game, in which tonight goes to Jackson Higginson, to Jack's Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. And, of course, all of our friends here at Spanish Fork 17. For our entire crew here at Spanish Fork High School, for my partner in the booth, Chris Hurst, I'm Ryan Ficken, signing off until next week when Spanish Fork hits the road to play crosstown rival Maple Mountain.
My name is Karma Karsten, the owner of Maple Creek Home Health and Hospice.
I'm Loretta Williams, and this is my mother, Ethelene. We promised my mom right from the start that we would